Oh, that's new. We'll go with it though. What up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome in. Wait. We good. They're still clapping for us today. Welcome in, folks. Welcome to Monday. Hi. Good to see you. If you're new here, hi. If you're old here, hi. How you doing? I'm Space Tomato, and today we're going to be talking about Star Citizen stuff. Big surprise, I know, but it's one of those weeks. How you been? How's your weekend? Everybody doing some dancing over there? Dude, I got two mouse here, so I switched it out, right? This is my old mouse. I just plugged it in my streaming PC, so now I have both my mice on my right hand, and it's very confusing. God, I keep grabbing the wrong mouse. They also are kind of shaped the same, so it's throwing me off. But I like and miss this mouse. I've said it before. The G504 is cool, but this, or 502? It's called? Yeah, the G502X is cool, but the G604, this is still my favorite. This is still, an oldie but a goodie, as they say. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about our lovely Sundays and how they went. What did you guys do? I worked on my garden. I haven't showed you guys this. Hold on. There I go, grabbing the wrong mouse again. I haven't shown you guys what I'm working on in our yard. And it's for good reason too, which you will learn about soon enough. Check this out. Look. Hold on. I actually could probably find the original picture of our yard. When we first got here, the house that we moved into had not been lived in for a little while. So the yard was a little crazy when we got here. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. And just like very overgrown and stuff. Definitely unkempt. Why can't I find any pictures of it though? That was a nice song. Thank you, DJ. Real, hold on. Can we put something really cool on now? No, that's not what I want. I'm in the mood for that cool song. You guys know which one. The one I keep using on my videos now. There it is. Yeah, I like this song. This is a chill song. It's hip. My wife hates it when I say hip, but it's hip. Yeah, I'm building a literal garden, guys. Okay, so here it was when we first got here. Honestly, not that bad. Not that bad. This is like, it was just very weedy and like patchy and, obviously like there's not a lot of real grass here. It's basically just like all little weeds and dead grass. So I completely just destroyed it. I covered the whole thing in mulch, actually. I covered the whole thing in paper and mulch to kill off everything underneath it. See if I can find a picture of that, man. It's just not. These pictures are not easy to find, bro. Toes. There we go. Here's a better shot. You could see like how bad that was. I'm focusing a lot on how bad it was because I'm quite proud of where it is right now. So this is like the side of our house, you know. It's a little dead, a little not great, little California dryness, if you will. But now, my friends, I mulched the crap out of that thing. I made sure that it was completely covered and killed over the course of the summer and winter. So for 6 months, I left it covered, killed it all. All of the grass is dead. Everything died. It's complete just dirt down there. And I did some mulch down here. You can see it's still a little weedy. Working on that. But now, I got new grass growing. It's a big deal for me, okay? I'm one of those people who whenever you like plant something, it dies. So I feel like I've reached a level of victory here, okay? It's one of the more successful things I've done in a while. Yay. So that's my victory of the weekend. What about you guys? What have you been doing? Anybody do something really good? Anybody else growing a garden? It's planting time. My mom just let me know she planted her peppers. We were talking to another friend yesterday who said they're working on their own lawn. We're getting into that time period, at least in this area where the sun's starting to come out a bit. I know some of you are still living under snow igloos and stuff. I'm sorry. It's still kind of cold in February in some places. Grass going in February is a strange concept for someone in the northern Midwest. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you guys were just like getting blizzarded last week, right? We just had our first week of sun last week, so a little bit of different timing. What's the name of the song I was playing? It's called Cottage Pie. Cottage Pie, which I don't like the name of that. That just reminds me of cottage cheese. And if you are a normal human being, you know cottage cheese is from the devil. It was actively pushed into this world after the second fall of humanity as God cast out Lucifer and said, "You will no longer do evil to this realm. I will protect these people, and you have no control over them." As Lucifer was kicked out of the realm, he had one final secret move that he did to try and bring constant destruction to humanity, even while he could not be on this realm. And that was to leave behind cottage cheese. So this song being called Cottage Pie is okay, but you might find some religious folk telling you turn that off, okay? Cottage pie is delicious. I didn't say anything about cottage pie, okay? No, I don't know. It's safe for me for now. I don't know what's in it. Tell me cottage cheese is in it, though, then we're gonna have problems. Cottage cheese is awesome with some pickles and jalapeno chips. I am aghast, dude. I have a soundbite for that. I'm sorry, you get 2. Pickles? You know what? I won't hate it. I'm not gonna bash your yum. I won't yuck your yum, you know. If you like bitter chunks, it's cool. I'll give you that. Woo! I've had to get better at not yucking yums because Mrs. Tomato has a diet that's very, very different from my own. Well, it was. We've definitely converged. She's more of a I'm gonna put yogurt on everything kind of person, which is Turkish, you know. And I love them for that because honestly, I don't think I ever would have had a meat dish with garlic yogurt and fallen in love with it like I did in Turkey. So I gotta say, even when there's something that sounds gross to you, it very well might be delicious. Your cottage cheese with pickles? I'm gonna take your word for it. Should we ban them for saying that? Let's not get violent. It's only Monday. Oh, wait. Cottage cheese with sour cream or yogurt and sugar or jam is delicious. Now, I do, yeah. A lot of people do have cottage cheese with like their morning yogurt parfait. I think I accidentally did that one time. That might be where my experience come from. Do I think we will get the inventory preview either today or tomorrow? Well, folks, I am under the impression that yes, we will be seeing an inventory test this week. I don't know when it drops, but by all means, if it drops during this stream, I should be able to jump in and check it out without, as long as I don't show you guys it. But we're going to go over the monthly report today. A gas man? I actually drive an electric car. Thank you very much. I use gas heat for my showers though, and I like a hot shower. Olives covered in olives is that's just malpractice. Have you tried baklava since you are in Turkey? Have I tried baklava? You see this here on my arm here? This little guy poking out here? This little I'll give you a better view. Toes. Wait, hold on. I'm sure you can come on in here. Wait. Let me see if I can give you the close-up. Come on in here. Come. Get right there. There you go. Look at that. You see that? You see that? I got a little too obsessed with baklava while I was in Turkey and got it straight up just added to my arm. I actually think, if I'm not mistaken, we've been going over pictures and stuff. Hold on, check this out. No. Unfortunately, it doesn't show up. There was a... No. There's a picture of me actually getting this tattoo. And I'm eating baklava while I'm getting the baklava tattooed. By the Turkish artist who's like eating the tattoo with us. Eating the tattoo, eating the baklava with us. I don't even know when I got that tattoo though. Do you remember that, Mrs. T? Looks like I already had it by 2021. Dang. I got that early in my love for the baklava. Whoop! It's a loud video. Yeah, dude, I got that tattoo early. I can't find it.
Wow.
Baklava is amazing, dude. I'm not in Turkey right now. I was living in Turkey for a while. Never been to Turkey, but you have tried it before and it is awesome. Turkey itself is pretty good. The food that comes from Turkey is so much better. Like, if you think the actual animal, the turkey, is good to eat, then the food you get from the country, the turkey... Dude, we miss it. We miss it so much. Mrs. Tomato is rolling for some good Turkish food. Although we have been having some. Here and there. Would I recommend semi-new people to go in and find an overlook over all of Star Citizen activities available right now because you're feeling overwhelmed? Honestly, I wouldn't suggest looking at everything. I think that actually would lead to you feeling more overwhelmed. If anything, I would suggest thinking of the gameplay you like and then looking into how you can do that in the game. Ignore everything else. You know, learn the aspects of the game. You can run a couple missions. I would say courier missions, but ultimately the game can be overwhelming if you try to jump into too many things or learn about too many things at once. I would suggest taking it slow and just trying out something that you like first. Yeah, Turkish food is good. Turkish food's freaking delicious. Anything else good happen over the weekend before we get started on this Star Citizen stuff? I'm trying out something new today, folks. We are actually going to start doing these talking streams in the just chatting category instead of the Star Citizen category. Just want to see what happens, how it's different. If you do see people coming into the Twitch chat throughout this, or anybody who is already in here who is maybe not used to this stream, feel free to ask questions. We don't bite.
Thank you.
If you want to learn some stuff, we're happy to answer questions, and it's a chill time. But you may see people who are not as knowledgeable about what we're going through today in Twitch, so patience. Wandering Mage. Yo, Wandering Mage just dropped, I think, the first gift freaking memberships in like 2 weeks on YouTube. Brother!
Thank you very much.
Holy crap, appreciate you, dude. YouTube literally pokes us about it after a time. It's really weird.
Thank you very much.
A Wandering Mage, straight up raising the whole tide on the Big Red. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a lovely week. And a good day. Egg on my face. Thanks for the sub on Twitch, Smev. It's 17 months, dude. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you as well. And Frisch, Mr. Frisch. Real life tomato garden. We'll get to tomatoes. I'm going to focus on peppers. I like growing peppers a lot.
Toast.
And you should be excited for that because I'll probably end up having to eat them on stream for a subathon or something. So I'll keep you guys very updated on how the garden is going. We have a channel for it in the Discord even, so I'll probably post pictures there. Fuck hey. 16 months subbed on the channel. Following along. Having a great time. A grand old time. Thanks for being here, dude. Discord have just announced they will require age verification. Yeah, how about we talk about that, huh, folks? Huh. Discord has just announced that they will be verifying all basically IDs. I mean, you have to either do a face scan or send in an ID to Discord now, I believe, to prove you're over 13. Isn't it crazy that we used to just be able to go on to any website and just put in the number of what age you were? Yeah, I was born in 1947. Let me in. I mean, you can still do that, but now, like, I don't know, man. If I was like a kid, if I was like 16 or 17, I would feel very weird about sending pictures in. I felt weird when I was doing it for like the DMV and stuff. You know, it was like, what if this gets like intercepted and then somebody has a picture of me? I know it's not crazy, but I do think this is like, it's just gonna continue to get more and more weird like this. Like, there's no anonymity. I don't even want to send this stuff to Discord because I don't want them to have the info. What info are they going to ask for in the future? I don't know. It's all a little bit weird. The thing that annoys me most about this isn't necessarily that Discord is requiring this. It's just that, like, there aren't a ton of alternatives. And when you mention alternatives, people are like, use Discord. In the very video I released last week, all of the Discord warriors are like, we don't need social apps. Just use Discord. Just use Discord for chat. There are third-party apps that do everything. Star Citizen doesn't need chat. And then Discord's like, well, yeah, but send us a picture of your ID. I don't know, man. I think this is probably going to cause some hubbub. We'll see what happens with it. But this was just announced. And basically they're saying starting in early March, all new and existing Discord users globally will be assigned new default settings that support age-appropriate experiences, while keeping privacy up front and center. Content filters. Discord users will need to be age assured as adults in order to unblur sensitive content. Age gated spaces. Only users who are age assured as adults will be able to access age restricted channels, servers, and app commands. Message request inbox. Direct messages from people a user may not know are routed to a separate inbox by default. That's still true. That was already true. Safety request alerts. People will receive warning prompts from... okay. All of this seems... It all pretty much is the same. It's just now depending on the way that you prove it. Here we go. So they're going to accept on-device processing, which is a video selfie for facial age estimation, never leaving your user's device. Quick deletion. Identity documents submitted to our vendor partners are deleted quickly, in most cases immediately after age confirmation. Straightforward verification. In most cases, users complete the process once and their Discord experience adapts to their verified age group. So this only works, I'm guessing, because now they have a lot more tools to make sure you are taking pictures of the right people. Because this is a video selfie, right? Yeah, it's not a picture. Or else people could just make like AI up-aged videos or pictures of themselves, right? Could you just make a video of yourself that's been aged up? What happened to Gilded, bro? Why did Gilded sell out to Roblox? Nah, I'm actually think we're gonna. So we already use TeamSpeak a little bit in our back end. We might start considering that more. The problem has always been in moving to a new alternative from Discord. The problem's always been that a lot of people are on Discord, right? You want to try and move your whole org to TeamSpeak. Everybody's like, why would I move to TeamSpeak? I'm already using Discord. It's ease of use, which is why I say adding something into the actual game will help, because people are already forced to use that. They're going to be there. It'll get use. Now, we get to see just how sticky Discord is. Because, like, this isn't the first time they've been bugging people. They've been kind of making weird decisions for the last few years. Can't they just steal their parents' IDs? It's the old alcohol buying trick. What is a better way to accomplish the same thing? I don't know. Maybe like we work on our society and our education and the things we're putting out into the world, and better understanding how to deal with fake content and inappropriate content. Like, we keep in almost every single situation, we're like, let's let things get slowly worse, and then once they're finally getting so bad we can't pay attention to it anymore, let's go after the symptoms instead of the problem. Like, instead of, one of my favorites, instead of, we have, like, my city, Sacramento, is accepting Waymo to come in and start doing driverless taxi stuff, which, you know, I've always been a tech person. I'm like, hell yeah, driverless taxis, cool. That's good, because people suck at driving. But at the same time, that's not exactly the right reason to do it. Like, our city officials are like, yes, we invite Waymo in. There's too many deaths on the road. The driving is too bad. I'm like, then fix the f***ing driving. There are people out here who will not stop at stop signs. People running through red lights. I saw somebody stopped at a red light with their hazard lights on, looking like they didn't know what to do with their cargo broken down. And then a cop pulled up behind them, and instead of getting out to help them, went around and kept going through the stop sign without stopping. Like, nobody even cares about this stuff. Yet we keep trying to solve it with the stupid problems that cause more... I'm sorry, I'm on a rant, man. We're so bad at solving our problems. Doing this on behalf of the feds, same as Facebook and Twitter done years ago. It's nothing new. Well, don't tell me it's nothing new, bro. Discord's blocked in Turkey. I am very, very, very well aware of how much the government can mess with this kind of stuff. Honestly, I think the things that happened in Turkey are really just like a five-year precursor to what's happening here. But we won't get into that. Either way, we'll see where this goes. But we definitely are. I'm glad TeamSpeak is making a little bit more of a bump into the mainstream. And hopefully, I don't know, Gilded can, like, I don't know. I don't know what Gilded can hope for. Freaking sucks what happened to that one, because Gilded was great. I honestly thought Gilded could do better than Discord, but Roblox, you know. Sweeping in. Egg on my face. Thanks for the Prime sub, dude. Appreciate you. Your driving test was 5 turns and you got your license. They're like, you got the car on. That's pretty good. You've used TeamSpeak, but Discord has consistently been better. It runs another with less overhead in your experience. True. True. Discord has a lot of its benefits. I mean, even just having text chat is very nice. TeamSpeak is just good for voice, at least as far as I'm aware. Age verification is most certainly a response from the UK and Australia passing these SOAM laws about kids. France also looking at that. Do you think, where is Discord based out of? Is this an American company? Yeah. Oh, they're in San Francisco. Wow, that's pretty close. Registered in Delaware, of course. Like 50% of companies. Yeah, I do wonder like how quickly they're going to do this kind of stuff just to make sure they don't kicked out of countries. Yeah, apparently it wasn't enough that Turkey was going to ban them. There hasn't been Discord in Turkey for like over a year now. That was yeah, it's still banned over there. That was rough too. That was not fun. And there's just no sign of it getting unbanned. Your driving test had you parallel park in a spot the car could barely fit in. My driving test is really funny. In the DMV, there's like this one spot that they have everybody back out of for the test. And in that one spot has like a fire hydrant behind it on the other side of the road. And that fire hydrant has one of those big retention poles things that stop people from hitting it. But because this was a place where there were so many driving tests all the time, the people who would come to do the driving test oftentimes would back too far out and hit the pole. So you just had this like permanently bent pole next to this fire hydrant, and every single person who came out to take that driving test, the instructor would have to be like, yeah, just watch the pole. and half the people would still hit it. I didn't hit it. I'm quite proud. Thank you. I did get my driver's license first time. Yeah. It only took 8 years of training, though. No, I'm kidding. I got it when I was 16. You almost had an interview with them for an IT job. Honestly, I think Discord would be a cool company to work at. Like, I don't have anything against Discord as a company. I think they make some weird decisions, and obviously they do company shit, which is, you know, we end up being at the short end of the stick a lot of times with that. But I like Discord. In Germany, you have to take a minimum of 15 hours of drive lessons. Yeah, you have to do that here. The driving test might be terrible, but you technically can't take the driving test until you do. Oh, it's probably different in different states. At least in California, you have to do like a couple dozen hours behind the wheel, and I think some amount of those miles have to be on the highway. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people don't actually reach that requirement, but you're supposed to get some kind of experience on the road. Was it 100 hours and 40 had to be at night? Yeah, it's something like that. I just remember when I first started driving thinking to myself, how in the world can I possibly transport thousands of pounds of steel and aluminum and electronics down the road while there are other people in the car whose life depends on me, but also I have to pay attention to like every other car, and is my foot too much on the gas pedal, and when do I press the brake pedal, and the steering wheel's kind of pulling against me. It's like that first time driving, it's like, how is this ever going to be a comfortable thing to do? And then only a couple weeks later you realize, oh, you don't actually have to be good at it. Everybody's just kind of making it work. You think Europe isn't better in regards to consumer protections? Not so in America. Yeah, I think that's a fair bet. I would be interested in seeing what would come of a Discord-like in the EU. And honestly, I think we are at a point where we're going to start to see a lot more alternatives coming from European companies, which I like that. It's nice to see. Nice to get a little more high tech in Europe, dude. That's like kind of our possibly preferred place to live long term. You miss manual transmissions? Do you not have a manual anymore, my dude? You work for the company that could do quick and easy to implement age verification using government IDs in Germany, but it's too niche and difficult to use for the end user. Verification is an interesting topic. Because it's an agreement, right? It's like, it has to be that the person who is verifying has to come with some kind of agreement with the person who is asking for verification. And they both need to agree that the reason for verification is valid, the method is valid, and that there's trust. I would never ask our org mates to... I know some orgs actually ask people to like verify with their ID, with their license, which is crazy to think about. But everybody has a line, everybody has a limit at which they would be like, okay, yeah, I'll give you my ID. Like, some people, it's really far. They'd be like, you have to give me $1,000 first, which isn't a lot of money. It's $1,000, but it depends on where you land on that spectrum. TeamSpeak has text messaging. Oh, it's only a message though. I see. No channels and feeds. Much lighter than Discord and runs a lot better. The only problem you have with TeamSpeak is that you need to set up your microphone yourself in the app. No automatic settings like in Discord. Yeah, and that's why like it's good. I think a layer for leadership, maybe not for large groups. US is pretty good at managing the shady companies. It's the legal companies they let run rampant. European Discord might come with pre-built with government backdoors, considering current EU-UK stance. It really, yeah, and I don't know. Maybe we're at the point where it's too late and everything is going to have backdoors. What you know about a backdoor, huh? Oh, that's not the right sound. That's... Sorry, that was my flirting sound. I just... You know, some light petting. Ooh, that feels so good. Why don't we talk about Star Citizen though, huh? Enough of this. Star Citizen is here in January. It's the right sound. Star Citizen returns. Whoops. Can we, there we go. Star Citizen returns this month with another monthly report from January. First progress for Star Citizen this year. It's a short one, but there's some interesting stuff here. We're going to go over it, and we're going to talk about kind of what features and ships are coming up. As we do, we'll go over the features, and then we're going to cover the ships separately. Where is my ship tracking, ship shipping sheet? Hold on, let's pull that up real quick. Our ship tracking ship sheet for the ships. We'll be going over this separately once we get to that segment to cover what's going on. If you guys want to follow along on your own. I think we do have, if I'm not mistaken. Dude, how do you even get to this website? There we go. On this page, you should be able to, yes, oh, maybe I can make this a little bit bigger on the page so you don't have to scroll. But you should be able to follow along right here on all of the ships that we're following, their details, and what's going on with them. That link will be down in the description. But our goal right now is to cover the monthly report. New features, AI, locations, all that jazz. The right sound. First, we have an ice cave. I don't know. They don't actually tell us what this is. I don't know if this is an ice cave or if it's part of the rock cracker stations. There's a lot of guesses on it. Usually we don't have this much infrastructure inside the caves of Star Citizen. Usually if there's like a door and a lock and all this kind of stuff going on, that means it's something that's a little more bespoke and handmade. So we'll see where this is. But for now, that's what opens up the monthly report for them. Jumping into AI content though. After the winter break, AI content immediately began to close out the Alpha 4.6 patch. This included adding new Spectrum content for the Stanton system and working alongside the environment team to install screens around Levski for use by the People's Alliance. I hear they just got touchscreens for the first time, so they're really excited. As with any release, the team tackled various bugs affecting the social AI and mission providers. Elsewhere, the team walked through their general plan for the year and outlined the goals they would like to achieve alongside the supporting teams that would be needed to assist. The rest of the month was spent continuing tasks for initiatives started in the previous year. As we've talked about, January is usually a month of planning for them. Oftentimes this takes up the whole team and it leads to them not having anything really to tell us for the month of February or January. Go back to the February monthly report and you can see from the sorry, not the monthly report, the roadmap roundup. There we go. And you can see here that it is loaded with details. Tons and tons and tons and tons of things being added in. That is because they usually spend that first month of the year doing a lot of testing or planning and talking. Let's see if they even mention that here. No, they don't really talk about that here. But generally that first month of January is all planning. We don't really get many details. They come out with this at the end of February and we finally kind of start the year. As I have covered, this year has started much more quickly than they normally do. So as you can see, even while AI, yes, has been working on stuff over the course of the year, they've still been getting stuff into the game even early on. It's a different kind of year. Moving on to the AI features team, AI features and tech began the year fixing a blocker that caused NPCs to incorrectly break out of combat and investigate. This led to human combatants not firing across various missions in Stanton, Pyro, and Nyx. Another issue was fixed that caused NPCs to be stuck in the cowering position. Yeah, this one's been awful, dude. This is like the new T-pose. The team then improved firing validation and then reworked the way NPC trigger switch logic is used to give the devs more control over its utilization. For example, NPCs using burst fire capable weapons will always switch to burst fire if desired. Improvements were also made to aim direction handling, when targets are no longer visible to eliminate NPCs occasionally aiming through walls. These are all very recognizable bugs, right? Like, these are the ones that we know quite well. Dude, did I burn myself? What the hell? I have this like little spot of pain right here and the skin looks like I burnt myself. Too hot, bro. Has it been fixed though? Your guess is as good as mine. It says it in the monthly report, but who knows? The thing with monthly reports that's hard to know is they don't tell you when this stuff's going to be in the game. So they might talk about a feature here that sounds super exciting to us and we'll be all over it, but could be not come until 4.8. We don't know. Continuing on, this stuff gets pretty interesting here. For creatures, updates are made to the adult Valakar, which will no longer try to close in on targets. It's going to be a little more strategic. The Apex Valakar, which is no longer able to hear while traversing underground. The burrow to position behavior was also updated to string instead of a fixed type. This will directly pass animation fragment tags, improving iteration time. The team also ensured that the Apex Valakar can freely move around planetary nav mesh. That's huge, dude. This is freaking huge. Okay? I still remember, I'm sure we've got footage for it. We could probably go back and look up the nav mesh when they first started working on it. And they were just placing down navigation blocks across planets. This is 3-4 years ago. Context. When we were seeing this episode of Inside Star Citizen right here, it was impossible to find an AI on a planet. It was either they were on a space station, they were in a spaceship, or they were in a bunker underground. There were no NPCs around the bunkers on the outside. There were no NPCs in these distribution centers. To be quite honest, there's still not that many NPCs outside or traversing the planet, which is why I feel this is a big deal, because we've yet to really see NPCs traversing outside of space cows, really, and birdies. So bigger and larger things are nice. Hopefully this means that the Valakar will soon be free roaming around the planets it's on, which could mean random sandworm encounters. I don't even know what the Ashalahid or whatever the heck you guys say about Dune. Umashalahib, whatever the heck they call the sandworm. Maybe you can do it soon. They say the algorithm has improved to allow large creatures to find paths and travel large distances, as they are not always close to players. They gonna be living their own lives, bro. Going out and doing their thing, hitting the club, getting a party, walking at the park. I'm happy for these sandworms. Get up, get out, do your own thing. I'll show you what they look like though, because we originally got introduced to this sandworm on Star Citizen's CitizenCon in 2024, with the expectation that that was where beast hunting was going, but they have not been able to fully embrace what they showed us here. Give you a little looky-loo here.
Well, now our crew is assembled, and in a universe as big as Star Citizen, who knows what trouble they could run into.
Shai Hulud.
So let's find out what they're going to face. Now, they're heading to the planet Monarchs, which is in the Pyro system. So without further ado.
So this is the idea for, like, this is an actual profession in the game. I'll go one step further here. I love showing the proof, okay? It's good to have the proof just so that you can keep it in your mind and remember it in the future when, like, somebody else is asking you the question.
To a nebula.
You go back here and you see that we do indeed have the Science Academy asking us to capture animals, collect animal parts, and hunt animals. So the idea of hunting beasts in Star Citizen will absolutely be a big thing. And they've actually shown us the beasts that will be available to be hunted. Before we get to the sandworm, I'm sorry, let me show you kind of the overall scope of this, because it's not just like, oh, you're just gonna kill something random and get some crafting materials for it. This is gonna be like a full-fledged profession, I think.
So far, have typically just had alterations to their loot and appearance. However, we want to go further with what variants can be. For example, what if the Valakar evolved and grew in a swamp environment instead of a desert planet? Or if a Valakar never made it to the surface and only lived in drowned caves? These are the kind of questions that make sci-fi
that was the Yormandi.
one of the best mediums. And I can hear the questions already. What does an adult cave Valakar look like? What does an apex quasi-grazer look like? Wow. It's these questions that get everyone excited that works on creatures to give you a glimpse.
An apex cow.
All of these variances and differences and new creatures make up the unique elements of various planets, ensuring that
I think this is the biggest creature in the game. I think they are actually going to try and do this sky squid thing.
They're populated with appropriate creatures. We've been designing creatures in mind so that planet
Isan Gal
ecosystems
Gaib.
influence their behaviors, designs, aesthetics, and harvestables. With that being said,
I got to get a
would like
blood
to give you a
knife.
sneak
No,
peek.
that's not. What is it called? The Kursk knife? The Krisk knife? Some kind of knife with a K sound?
our Fauna Matrix. That's all from me. I'm very happy to be bringing the Valakar to all of our backers. It's really like nothing else you've played before. I'll leave you with this last video. Enjoy the rest of CitizenCon, everybody.
So this is where they show kind of all the little animal boys that they want to be involved. So we got that one. They're just showing us the ones we have. These are the first 4. And then they'll expand from here. And we do not have these things. That looks fucking scary. I don't like that. They say all of these will be in the game by 1.0. So yeah, that being said, here is the actual hunting scenario that they were trying to lay out for the Apex Valakar. Bulls are scary, yeah. Star Paws, that's right. This is what Star Paws is all about. You wish we had cows instead of space cows. It would make more sense instead of domesticating a new species. It's actually interesting. The space cow isn't... the space cow is not exactly a new species. It's hundreds of years old. But they actually modified the space cow because other animals couldn't exist on other planets. So regular cows wouldn't have been able to be spread out the universe as much. So they actually genetically modified space cows to be animals that could be the general cattle for humanity, but it was modified in a way that it could survive in a bunch of different situations. I think that's actually probably how they're going to explain why there are so many different variants of the space cow here. Is like, we made them, but they got a little out of hand for the different planets we brought them to. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if that's actually where they go with it. Dude, they need to actually pull this off. I wasn't really all that excited for this when it first showed. I mean, the idea behind it is cool. I'm just not much of a monster hunter, beast hunter kind of person. The Witcher 3 is an amazing game to me, but my least favorite part is the beast hunting, not gonna lie. But I do understand that's really exciting for people, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But I'm so much more excited just to see this play out because over the last year, seeing how the game has evolved with the content, it's really impressive. It's actually kind of catches me to realize that like the game isn't that far away from giving experiences that are legitimately unreplicable in other games. Not that they're just not doing, literally the other games just cannot do it. Some games can, but most don't try. And I feel like they're getting so close to this stuff, but I'm wondering what's holding this up. Obviously, they're still working at it, which is good. But it's taken a little longer than they thought. Not crazy for CIG. This last event has been the most playable event in your opinion? The one going on right now? So the thing is, if this came into the game, it wouldn't be an event. This would be like, I mean, this would be kind of like the Lazarus Apex Valacar. There would still be a way to find these. They would just be sitting out there in the world somewhere, I bet. It's literally, it's like Mass Effect. They'd give you all these places to land on the planet, but ultimately you wouldn't really have that much fun till you came across an outpost or one of those worms that popped up in a valley. We got our valley worm. I'm such a valley worm. Like, totally. Ouch, dude. It's in the game already, this is just the normal version. I mean, it's not like this though, right? Like, the snake doesn't go underground, it doesn't like move that much, it kind of just stays in that one little tiny area. It feels like what we have in game right now is like a boss fight at the end of an FPS dungeon as opposed to an actual monster hunting ritual with vehicles and stuff. This feels like a different kind of engagement to me that they just weren't able to program, so they just brought the Valacar in to sit at the end of the Lazarus facilities. Maybe we all drink soy milk in the future? I'm allergic, bro. Oof! Bro, it's fun to watch devs explode. We're getting there. I think we'll be here. I think this is like exactly what we're seeing here in the monthly report is they weren't able to ship the Valacar how they wanted. They haven't really acknowledged that too much, but they are clearly working on getting it to the level that they have shown us in the past. Continuing on, they said that support for Star Paws is also planned for development in the near future. This is to create all those little beasties we just looked at. The team then refactored serialized debug variables to no longer propagate on release builds for the PU. NPCs are now also able to play different jump animations based on the ledge height that they're traversing. Different jump animations. I've been working on my jump animation. Do you guys want to see my different jump animations? They've been pretty good. I think I'm actually making more progress. And check this out. Look at this. Look at this. I've been practicing. Watch. Check it. Watch. Here's jump animation 1. Ha! Okay, okay. Here's jump animation 2. Ha! Yeah. So, like, we're all making progress, okay? They said the team can restrict the jump height of individual NPCs without having to change the navigation link. For example, in a situation where a navigation link of 4 meters high is used, only NPCs capable of jumping this height will use it. How? Do they mean pull yourself up? I haven't worked on a 4 meter high jumping and I'm not going to show you guys that one. 4 meters? I'm guessing they mean like a 4 meter high wall that you can climb up, because that's insane. Finally, the team are now in the process of merging the 3D voxel grid pathfinder into the PU. Alright, cool. You like those jumps, bro? Animation side. The facial animation team worked through the remaining motion capture content that was recorded toward the end of last year. As part of this, another new voice pack will be released in Alpha 4.7, as well as additional content for James Harryman, who will be returning with a new design, but somewhat familiar. I do wonder how much it'll look like Jared. Yeah, 12 foot tall jump. It's not a big deal. 4-meter ledge grab is crazy. Yeah, it's like that's up there. Yeah, they just had to get the snake in. Just do it. All right. Art on the character side of things. The character art team began the year finalizing new gang outfits and progressing with combat armors for the coming year. Honestly, this is like character art team has been working constantly on gangs and armors. But they've been coming into the game, which is good. What is Star Paws? Oh god. It's just CIG's naming convention. We can go back to the November monthly report. I believe they introduced Star Paws there. Basically, it's just their engine for creating animals. They like to give weird names to this stuff. They said the creature pipeline is known as Star Paws. Work is being done on AI triggered actor state, radio formations reported from Squadron, and the AI skill extender was refactored and renamed AI Motive. So yeah, it's literally just their creature development pipeline. I remember when they hired a dev for this at the end of, I think it was 2023, if I'm not mistaken. Would have been easy to find. I made a video about it. Would have been here. This was a pretty advanced job. Holy shit! Are you kidding me? What the bro? This is the page. The video opened to the page that I was gonna reference. That is freaking wild. This is the posting that they made back in the end of 2023. They were looking for an AI designer, basically just to create believable social and combat AI behaviors, work with animators to create realistic and engaging behaviors for humans, aliens, and creatures. This was the person who was creating the entirety of the AI you could encounter. AI design team is responsible for ensuring the world of Star Citizen is full of life, from the tiniest creatures to the apex predators, from the human populations and outpost cities and space stations to the strange aliens on distant worlds. They are responsible for creating the AI behaviors for all those and the interactable entities that these NPCs and creatures use in the world. That's who these people are. And they started their work on this stuff in earnest towards the beginning of 2024, which makes sense because we started to see our first fauna in the game, I think mid 2024, right? It was like a May, I think 3.23 would have been the following update after that. So many updates. Yeah, so May of 2024, they dropped in the first two, the Copion and the Marok. And then in the following update, I believe we got the Valakar. No, that was last year. No, after that, we got the Space Cow. Yeah, the Kazi Grazer later on in the year. And then after that, we got the Valakar, and then the Big Valakar, and then the Yormandi. So I'm betting we're going to see a new, like, it's been a little while since we've seen a new fauna. I bet we see something fairly soon, first half of this year. But they've clearly started to kick this stuff off since they got that team together, and now they're getting the actual pipeline for the team. This is kind of like what happened with planets. It also happened with ships. You can see like the individuals that they recruit and get together to build the team, and then you can see the team starting to like produce stuff. And then eventually you see the company start talking about the actual tool that's being built for the team to keep producing the stuff that they already made faster. This happened with missions too. We got like 1 or 2 new missions a few years ago. this was when we were seeing the talk about, like, Inside Star Citizen was covering modular mission sets. They had Elliot on a lot. They were talking about salvage missions, but it still took a little while. Now we're seeing new missions come in like every patch, every couple patches, every 3 patches. So like they clearly have this method of starting something, doing it, getting out some proof of concept, building the tools, getting in the systems and programs in place, and then the content actually starts to come from that team more consistently. I think anybody who's worked on a project before can see that that's a pretty normal way for things to work. It's just taken them a long time to get there. Continuing on the team, they say the team has then refactored serialized debug variables to no longer propagate on release builds for the PU. NPCs are now also able to play different jump animations. We already went over that. We're way ahead of that. We're going to skip on the ships. Like I said, we'll come back to that when we have our spreadsheet ready. Moving on to the f***ing lack of core gameplay this month. A sad day, but unfortunately, no core gameplay development in January. Now, like I said, it does tend to be a testing month for them, and the core gameplay generally comes back here. Actually, going back to February of last year's monthly report, you can see that they did indeed have a massive, absolutely massive core game. Dude, bro. It's huge. So I don't know if they'll do the same next year, but they clearly held back information, and then they gave us the whole update about what's going on with core gameplay. So it's very likely that there was core gameplay development in January, and they just didn't put it on the monthly report for whatever reason. So we'll move on to mission design. Coming back from the holidays, the mission team continued with their work for content coming this year. This began with the Industrial Collection missions. Great addition, though we still don't quite have them in game. Which will also add reputation to mining-based factions and expand on salvage gameplay. We've covered the mining stuff for a while. We've been waiting for mining missions for like 2.5 years, so it's great that they're finally getting in. For mining, these missions will complement existing gameplay. For example, while a mission may ask for a specific amount of iron, mining could produce more than required, which can then be stored for use later, used for another mission, or sold for profit elsewhere. GII folks, keep an eye out. I am working on a system right now. I will start buying these materials from you. If you are running missions and you have too much, depending on the quality you have, once that does become a thing, I am slowly working towards getting a division in this org together so that we can buy stuff from you and store it ourselves for goods later. I'm very, very into trade, so keep an eye out for if you are a miner and you like to supply stuff. We got a place for you. The salvage missions task players with retrieving components, weapons, CM, and RM, which can be twinned with the salvage rights players can already buy, allowing for profit maximization. The team also supported the Clearing the Air event, providing varied mission types that allow players to work for a chosen company, or for all of them, as we know you guys like to, and earn rewards. This has been what seems to be a pretty big success with folks. Now, it seems to be a big success in terms of the vibes, and a lot of people are saying that has made the gameplay better, but I do wonder if every event is like this. Will the novelty wear off? I do think they did a good job, and they need to encourage people to work together, but I am wondering if it went exactly how they wanted it to go. Taryn, you're out of biddies. Sorry, hope you had a great weekend, dude. I don't care. Just seeing your name in the chat. Seeing the same name in the chat for years is so much better than biddies, dude. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a good Monday and had a great weekend. Did you do anything fun? You really hope Elliot can give good news about the mission system progress on SCL. I think we're in for I do think we're in for a good some good news when it comes to mission systems. Just from what Benoit was saying, clearly the standards in the company are high enough that there should be interesting missions. And if they're not, then we go to the CTO and we're like, hey, bro, get CTOing. Don't we get the mining and salvage missions with the release of the Argo Salvager? I'm betting so. The introduction ones are already in, but the deeper ones will probably be with that ship, yeah. If they counted on the event lasting for 2 months, it certainly did not go their way. Right. But then we run into this constant question, Lurch. Is it supposed to last 2 months because it's supposed to take the people who started 2 months to do it? Or is it supposed to last 2 months so that the people who are busy for the first month can still jump in and do it for the last few weeks? Because I think they're probably making it for the latter. And what we should be telling all of the former people is that you can take more time. Which won't be a problem. I don't think it's going to be a problem in the future. I think Star Citizen right now is suffering from not having enough content. So that when they do one of the... I said do. When they do... I said do again. When they do one of these events, people won't all be chomping at the bit to go and do it day one. They'll still have other things that they're doing. But there's just so little content that it goes like that, you know? You doing it solo and you barely scratch the surface? Yeah. And you feel no pressure, right? You just kind of... It's there when you want it. I think that's the best way to play. You played yesterday and there was no AA party going, just a few people haven't finished the event. See, and that's where people are going to miss out because a lot of people haven't even learned about the event yet. We're such a small group of gamers, dude. Like, the Star Citizen community is so small. If an event like this was going on for Helldivers, there would be hundreds of thousands, okay, maybe not hundreds, there'd be thousands of people finding out about it every single week. Red Festival started last year, January 20th. Why has it not started yet? It ended on February 17th. I don't know. Did they not say when it was going to start? You kind of feel pressured? Well, at least you have a little bit of time. You hate the idea of AA parties. Why is that? Now that it's been out for a couple weeks, people will have to solo grind it, which is a pain. This is why I say look for an org. If you have an org, guaranteed you'll have somebody to do it with for the entirety of the event. The Helldivers 2 Earth Invasion event made normal people news. That's so cool. I love it when video games make normal people news. Normal people, join us! Yay! We do fun stuff! We're not all super weird! Yay! That's me calling to the rest of the gaming community. We're still trying to get onto that stage. Alright, let's continue. Looking forward, design work was completed on the revival of Siege of Orison. This was followed by a phase of rapid iteration to ensure the first instanced content is a great step forward. Anybody in chat not get to do Siege of Orison? Anybody came after Siege of Orison happens? If we could do a quick blow through of what it is. It is a very fun event. I think for people who come from gameplay like myself, which is, you know, the classics, Halo, Mass Effect, Deus Ex, you know, the same freaking 3 or 4 videos I named, or games I name every time. If you're coming from games like that, I think Siege of Orison is a very, very fun event because it's very focused on urban, group-based FPS gameplay. You never did it? You came before it, but you never did it. Oh, that's a bummer. It was a bit rough. Weren't able to do it last time. You tried many times, though. You never got into it either. When was it? Oh, I want to say 2023, maybe. It's been a while. It was one of the last things they actually added in. They did Xenothreat. Then they did Ninetales Lockdown. Then they did... I think then they did Siege of Orison and then Jumptown 2. If I'm not mistaken. But this was, yeah, 2022 is when this came out. I'll give you guys a... What is this? Oh, this is a trailer. Actually, I guess the trailer will tell you what it is.
Hey, happy birthday! Oh my god! We're under attack. Security's been overrun. Please, help us.
Dude, could you imagine being like vacationing out at a freaking resort in Maui and this gang just comes in with military equipment and kills everyone and takes over? Stanton is a terrible place to vacation.
Attacks these commercial platforms. Gather any gear you need and help us take them back.
So this is the idea. The Ninetales gang takes over a couple of platforms in Crusader, and you go to Crusader, you take one of those like ferries. Oh, good speed. Dude, thank you. Guys, YouTube is outpacing Team Twitch today for the support. Check you out. I appreciate you. Have I tried Star Rupture yet? I actually have. I'm about to put up my first gameplay for it tomorrow, and then I'm going to jump in again on Wednesday, I think, to play a little bit if you guys want to see some base building. But yeah, it's essentially a FPS firefight with a whole bunch of Ninetales members, but you're specifically looking for lieutenants, so you have to fight your way through streets, through a couple buildings, get up to a landing pad, kill the specific lieutenant, take out the anti-air defenses. It's an objective-based FPS mission. Yes, it's combat, but it's very, very squad focused. It's very focused on getting together with a group and working together, which is why it makes sense that they're instancing it. They want this to be a closed off premiere showcase of what Star Citizen's what Star Citizen can actually do for gameplay. I think they're starting to try and show the game off more than just add these features, you know? Hey now, no hate to Twitch. We love Twitch. Twitch is great. The big perk. You can't fly there with a Hercules. Even though they show the Hercules here. So they are showing ships here. I guess technically you could fly in with the Hercules, but you have to disable the anti-air defenses first. And at that point, you would have people on the ground, so I don't know if it would be good to drop a bomb. But for the most part, you're not flying your own ships in there. And so this is going to be the first thing in the game that they instance. And they actually explained kind of why they wanted to do that back when it first came out. So I'll give them the chance to explain it themselves.
Find out what one of our first instances will be. Siege of Arzen was an event we did previously, which created a gameplay scenario where the player had to run through and progress through contested islands of Arzen. This was a high-paced, high-intensity event, but it struggled.
I hope they expanded this. While it was kind of cool when they first did it, one of my biggest problems was that it didn't feel like this at all. What they're showing us here is so far outside of what Siege of Arzen felt like.
We did previously,
like this looks like all-out war. Bombs going off, ships flying around fighting.
Gameplay scenario with.
But when you actually go to the event, in classic Star Citizen fashion, you'll like land out here on the ground and there won't be anyone there. Then you walk over to the entrance of the building and there's like two guys glitched out in the back and one person stuck halfway through an elevator door. Obviously, those things have been fixed in some places since we last ran this event, but I want to see NPCs out in the ground. I want to see them shooting us as we're landing and like challenging us outside, you know? And it's got to be more than just 15 NPCs scattered throughout a building. Let's get some real gameplay from this, especially since they're instancing it. They need to go all out with this and make it a proper finished game style mission, to be honest.
Player had to.
But since it's their first time instancing, I'm sure there's going to be some tech problems.
Run through and progress through contested islands of Arzen. This was a high-paced, high-intensity event, but it struggled a little bit from its technical execution. But now with the introduction of instancing, it gives us an opportunity to evolve it and modify it and make it better for you and a small group to work through that activity.
It is an event that I had the honor of pretty much solely designing and building all of the logic and having the stress of trying to get it working.
Agent Dooley from the CDF puts the call out for volunteers because basically the Ninetales have taken over sort of a cluster of floating platforms in Orison.
and you are there to kill these sort of lieutenants of this terrorist organization and take back control. So in our current thinking, Siege of Orison is designed for about a 15 to 20 people fire team. So you, your friends, or your org will go in, you'll all have sort of dedicated roles. Some of you might be the tank who brings in the heavy weapons and sort of pulls the fire. Some of you might sit at the back and be the sniper and pick people off who are a bit further to make the advance easier. Some of you will be the medic who sole job is going to be revive and look after the rest of your team and the health of them. And some of you will be the people.
Love some jobs. Love jobs and roles. This is enough, though. You guys get the idea of Siege of Orison. So these are two big pieces of content that very well might show up this year that haven't been exclusive. Like, I don't think they were listed on the plans that they had last year. Let's see if there's the patch that tells us about that. No, this is not it. There was like a page that they did when Levski released that was meant to... It's so hard to remember how CIG names their stuff. No, not Lifeline for Levski. I don't remember what it's called, but they showed us all the stuff that's coming into Levski. Man. Star Citizen's website. Almost as confusing as their funding model. All right, somewhere back here. Here we go. Traveler's Guide to Nyx. That's what we're looking for. So here they mentioned everything that's coming in this year in Star Citizen. Levski, the Glacium Ring, mining, the asteroid belt, all that stuff. Yeah, that's in. Levski is here with the settlement. Yada, yada, yada. People's Alliance is here. Cool. We know them. Couple of new drinks. Okay, great. Beyond 4.4, though, they named out the other things that would be coming this year. The breaker stations, which we have confirmed for 4.7, coming next month. The municipal works, which were perceived to be one of, if not the first instance locations in Star Citizen, probably coming over this summer. And tactical strike groups, requiring a whole bunch of improvement to this game before these run reliably this year. I think this is kind of our end of year sort of Q4 thing. Because it's probably requiring a lot of social tools additions. It also needs repair and rearm from capital ships. It needs more AI. It needs Vandal capital ships. It needs a lot. Planets, probably also midway through the year with Nyx 1 coming in, introducing Genesis. So this is what they told us is coming next year, right? At least in Levski. Now, we also got to hear in the CitizenCon, and Jared, confirmed this at Star Citizen Live last week. Everything that we saw at CitizenCon is still planned for 2026. All of the space stations, all the planet tech, all of the ships, which I think we've seen the ships already. The features like crafting. Obviously the instancing we just saw. All of this stuff is planned to come in, right? So one of those things is Siege of Orison, as we saw. And that, plus the Sandworm being something that's probably coming in, plus Squadron 42 is the game that's releasing, plus the crafting that they're working on, plus, I honestly, Starware is probably not really that much of a focus for them, but plus like the social tools that they're doing, the inventory things, like there's so much stuff planned for this year. It's kind of crazy. You think the Liberator is going to come with repair and rearm? What do the breaker stations do? Breaker stations are basically Hathor V2. Use Mumble instead of TeamSpeak only if Mumble made their interface better. It's like the most ugly app ever. I don't even know if you have to clear the location in FPS. I'm still hesitant on the way that they've described the Hathor stuff. They don't necessarily say that there's a lot of FPS combat, but they do say there is some, and knowing CIG, like, they might go overboard.
How do we bring this facility back to life? It's not just about flipping a switch. As you bring these stations back to life, you'll be lighting the beacon and calling attention to these long forgotten places.
One of the main features is the laser head, which will require certain things to get working.
Squadron 42 releasing. I'm confident. Listen, we could all of the things that they talk about this year could not come this year, right? It takes a modicum of confidence to put to say they're actually going to get tactical strike groups in here. But at least from what they're saying, there's a lot of stuff planned for this year. We'll see how much of it actually lands. If farming ever gets into the game, how long will CIG make the harvest timer? 2 hours, 24 hours, 2 days, or a week or more? Interesting poll. Can we have a mod please add that to the poll on Twitch? Thank you.
Your friends to find how to get in.
There'll be a variety of options. Whether you're discovering the bowels of the station and mining your way through long forgotten tunnels, or you're going through the main laser entrance. Now, as you're traversing through the facility, you'll find the old engine room. Now, there may be ways to bring the facility back to life.
And you can tell this is just a remodeled version of the room from Levski, right? What's the poll? Oh, can you not see that? There you go.
Now, there may be ways to bring the facility back to life, kickstart the engines, and bring power to different parts of the facility. Maybe eventually bringing the laser back online and cracking some rocks.
The secondary gameplay loop is FPS combat.
See, so they say the secondary game loop is FPS. We'll have to see what that means. It very well might be the fact that, like, they might just put FPS behind a door in the station, you know? The whole station is like moving components, booting up power, landing, doing all that stuff. But you only really get into the FPS part of it if you go into a certain section so that they can break it off and say, we've got the mining crew, we've got the logistics crew, we've got the combat crew. That would be ideal. A little artificial, but a way for people to still get what they want out of the event. Or out of the activity. You hate that not because you don't like combat, but it just seems like they are afraid of adding stuff that doesn't require you to shoot, as if the lack of combat would make it boring. I think combat's easy content for them still. You can see that you can see how they're slowly starting to not rely on it as much. The Onyx facilities being a really good sign. Obviously, before we had the cargo refactor, we never had any sort of moving the boxes to complete a mission, right? There were never events where you had to haul a certain amount of SCU of something because it didn't matter. Well, the gameplay wasn't there. Every event was go to a place, kill some people, and move a 1/8 SCU box of something, because that's all they had. Once we got the cargo refactor, then we started to see events and gameplay and activities that depended on cargo and moving it. Once we got salvage beam and the repair tool, now we're starting to see puzzles that require us to repair things and salvage things down. Or we use the mining laser to break away stalactites and stalagmites to get through. Once they got the ability to put keycards into doors, we started to see more keycards in missions and blades that were being used for that stuff. They're just using what they have, and they've had combat this whole time. So that's what they use most, and it's the easiest. But as we keep getting more and more mechanics, more and more features, as crafting comes in, as an actual economy forms, as factions have demands and concerns, they'll be able to use more of these things to get us to be active in the game. It's not always going to be combat like this. It is annoying, I agree, especially in places where it just does not seem like it would be necessary. But I think it's just them trying to continue adding stuff into the game that keeps it interesting. For the largest amount of people. There are plenty of folks who get freaking panties in a bunch when they get to move a box around, but for 80% of folks, that's more annoying than anything else. Yeah, the tech smugglers mission, I think, is a pretty combat-oriented one, to be honest. We need more investigation missions. Like a 2 or 3 part thing like Stormbreaker? Yeah. Like I said, I think it's just Hathor. Rockcracker's just Hathor V2. I mean, just look at what it takes. You get to the place, you have to go around an old facility that's broken down, you gotta boot it up and make sure it works, and then you make it punch a hole through the surface, and then you go into that hole and you mine away all the stuff and you get... Ow! God! Why? Why do you aim for the head? No! Not the head!
Go ahead!
Tell her no headshots.
Please.
It's dangerous.
They Venmo me extra for the headshot.
I'm gonna get hit in the eye one of these times and then take the gun away completely. I will.
Jeffala forever.
Yeah. Basically, you're just coming in here, completing some objectives, opening up the rock, and then pulling out the minerals and getting the goods. And it's Hathor. It's just Hathor in space. I appreciate that they're iterating on their design, and hopefully they have some improvements over it. She can't hit people that well in video games. I don't know where she's getting this from. Onyx facilities were some of your favorite gameplay until that coded door broke. The damn doors, dude. That's always what ruins it for us. We got the poll up on the chat for whoever was looking for answers on that. If farming ever gets into the game, how long is harvest time? What do you think, Twitch? Is it going to take 2 hours, 24 hours, 2 days, a week, or more? Yeah, I'm betting it's going to be different for different stuff. I guarantee it's going to be weeks for some of these things. You'd love to gather oil deposits in SC as a resource. Well, water is a resource. Don't know if we're still using oil by then. Abdi! Hey, did we get a shout out for Abdi? My man, I hope you're doing well out there. All of my best wishes to you, dude. God bless you. Am I excited for the salvaging mole this week? I'm excited. I'm more excited for the missions. A new ship is cool, but I love me some salvaging. Salvaging is best when there is components involved. If I have to do like EVAing or get into another ship or something for salvaging, then I'm there for it. So I look forward to a multi-crew salvaging ship that's not a reclaimer. That sounds like a good time to me. Ready to test star stuff today? Maybe they should call it Star Pockets. Star Pockets. Never mentioned anything about underwater ships now. Do I think when crafting arrives we'll see that small CNOU ship, or will they wait for ground mining? I don't think it'll come with crafting, but I think it will be unlocked by crafting. I don't think they have to wait until ground mining to bring it in. Oh, draining fuel will be a thing. Siphoning fuel is a form of fast salvage that they still haven't introduced. Hopefully someday soon. Okay, continuing on here. Past Siege of Orison, they've also gotten some additional missions underway in Nyx, including the return of the courier and delivery missions as part of the ladder towards hauling. Yeah, that's good. These are important because I think we need to get more missions that are high quality, low quantity. Show people that like you can still haul cargo. You don't have to get 80 boxes of stuff. Narrative. After the holidays, Narrative hit the ground running. supporting the final closeout for Alpha 4.6. This included writing the usual array of missions, objectives, mission, objective, item, and vehicle descriptions, as well as dealing with any bugs that arose during testing. Most of the work revolved around upcoming missions, events, and characters that will require further narrative input throughout the year. Team also started outlining their first performance capture shoot for the new year, so scripts were written and reviewed with the design to ensure the correct content is captured. Narrative and tech design discussed the location scattering tool detailed in the CitizenCon 2954 presentation, helping them understand how to theme these generated settlements in a way that feels scalable but specific. This is our first mention of Starkitect in a monthly report. I can confirm it was being worked on last year. I won't confirm how, but this is the first time they've, I think, told us publicly that they are in the midst of working on it. And while it's just narrative, I do think narrative is generally brought in after some design work has been done, because otherwise, what are they narrating? Let me give you guys a looky look at what Starkitect is, though, because this is some pretty crazy technology. This is their explanation for how do we deal with all of these planets being empty. Obviously, it's not just locations, though. It's also AI. So, like, we're going to be walking and going through this whole presentation, and as we do, I'm sure some folks are going to be very tempted to be like, okay, that's cool, love locations, that's great, but what's going to be in it? What about the content inside of it? What are you guys going to put in it? What about all these empty planets with locations, but what about what's going to be in it? How about the stuff that's inside of it? What are you going to put in it? We're going to see all forms of that. You can watch the rest of this presentation if you would like to learn more about that. This is the life part of the presentation, talking about AI and how it changes. Obviously, you guys have also seen that they're trying to add missions. Salvage and mining missions and VIP missions to wrecked derelicts and these other locations. So, like, I'm just pre-warning you there.
We can to make sure our planets are physically based and realistic, and our biomes are emergent. But it's time to start populating the verse, because where there's people, there are their lives and the structures they build. So it makes sense that whenever you go and explore these planets, that you find their lives. And what's even more important is that when we make these structures, that they use and they follow the same rules as our biomes, such as the jungles and the swamps. But before we continue, let's first take stock as to where we are now. At the moment in the verse, we have these custom, beautifully made locations, such as Ghost Hollow, we've got our distribution centers, or even just some outposts. And these have all been handcrafted by our designers and artists to hit that benchmark. And they've been working directly on the planet. However, going forward, this doesn't really scale with how we want to go forward with the game. Server meshing is about to arrive, and we're going to have a way higher player count. So those 73 bunkers across Stanton just won't cut it. But in general, it's also pretty barren. There's not much for you to explore and find stuff out there. So there's no exploration.
To be honest, we
gameplay.
saw this. Because they couldn't do instancing last year, when they added the Onyx facilities, for those who don't know, there's only supposed to be one Onyx facility. That's why, like, whenever it gets referenced, they say the Onyx facility. There's not supposed to be 98 Onyx facilities with 98 different Dr. Yorits flying around doing 98 terrible experiments. Or maybe it's one Dr. Yorit flying around doing 98 terrible experiments. He gets around, I don't know. But, like, they showed this last year that a small amount of locations leads to a lot of player friction, but as soon as they create a bunch of locations, suddenly everyone's running the same kind of missions at different places and not seeing each other. So this isn't a crazy idea.
You haven't really put your character to use for the way that you should. So this means we need to go bigger, which means we need to change our workflow. And with any workflow means we need to first establish a new benchmark. So, with our new benchmark, we are ensuring quality and improve on our previous work and make it even better. And any location that you'll find needs to have its own unique personality and no repetition. We don't want you to find the same location twice. This also means that this is your exploration and your findings. So when
he said it. It fit lore for there to be multiple of him running around. You're not wrong. That you're it, man.
You go out there and explore with your Carrack or with your Corsair. Is that whatever you find, you can share with your orgs or with your friends. As for that density, if you fly down to the planet, we want you to find something, let's say, every 100 clicks.
Wow.
But also improve the mission experience. So when you stay more on the planet, you're more immersed and you go from location to location. Just keep going. So going forward, we are modularizing all our existing locations and assets. And we're basically making a library of buildings and layouts that we'll be using to no longer work directly on the planet. The neat thing, all these modules and assets can be iterated upon and tested right in the editor for all the designers and artists to ensure fun gameplay and interactive sandbox activity, and also make sure all the mission stuff is there. Basically, we're building a toolkit. So let's look at some of the things that we need to keep in mind as we are making that toolkit. First and foremost, we've got our art style and branding. We've got things like Frontier for our settlements. We've got high-tech for the immersion.
Okay, I gotta step in here. This is actually a really important reference we need to get to. There's a couple important references that he's making here. So first is, if we go back to CitizenCon 2023, we can actually see them already starting this initiative of expanding out their libraries to prepare for this. Going all the way back to, I think it's Living on the Edge. Your boy was talking about the frontier style archetype. So they were talking about all these kind of like location archetypes and stuff back here, if you remember that. Isn't there? It's sharing like social spaces will look different. We'll have mining outposts. You'll have stuff that's meant for refining, all that jazz, right?
To match those categories together to provide that variation.
All of this is kind of the same thing at a smaller scale.
The archetype, and they provide that core gameplay hook and define the main function of a settlement.
So if we go back here, one of the key things he mentions is that these are going to be locations based around keeping players engrossed for longer than just one single contract.
But that's me. Using this expanded library, we've been able to increase the individual location size because there's less of that obvious repetition between buildings within any single location. And we can't really call some of these large locations outposts anymore. They become something more like settlements and imply a larger and more established community. Now, as a player, it will mean a lot more to explore and do at any single individual location with a localized and personal feeling mission types that might see you moving around a single settlement to complete objectives or doing short hop missions between clusters of settlements on a single planet.
So we've seen this starting, right? The maintenance missions get applied locally when you get to places. Wicklow is the first testing case where they want to bring in people to actually get a mission physically in a location and then go out and do it. They're going to start doing that at more of these kinds of outposts as well. Maintenance was the first one we saw last year, but deliveries are not far behind. I think combat's probably going to be another one. Things like mining and possibly salvage. I don't know. Like if there's a salvage yard here, why would they not give you little contracts to salvage wrecked ships that they brought by, right? All of this is, I think, pointing in the same direction of wanting to make sure that players are not traveling long distances between planets for all their stuff, but rather feel they can hang out in one planet and just milk that faction, you know, run through the content that's there, make most use of what's actually happening in their local place so they could spend less time traveling, more time playing, and the game itself feels more like a series of neighborhoods, like a series of different environments where you get actual different experiences rather than the whole game being a place you're just supposed to fly around all in one day. Here is a little bit of the expansion in that that asset library that they're using to build up Pyro and Nyx.
And this is what that library of modules looks like on our library of content, to the point where we could make smaller locations like this one, but with a limited amount of variety between each one. And this is what that library of modules looked like at that point. We'd established our main building modules, as well as some of our larger buildings and a number of smaller secondary and dressing and standalone modules. But each outpost couldn't be too large without there being some obvious repetition between the modules used. So let's have a look at that library today.
And we've been over this. It still gets repetitive. I do think, though, that part of the reason it gets repetitive is because no locations have their own unique personality still. They all still feel like they don't have a real use in the game because they're not actually doing anything. So I'm very hopeful that this year both the narrative and this Starchitect tool can start to stick their hands in these locations and make them feel actually like they're there for a reason. Doesn't matter if you have 5 locations or 40 locations. If none of them have a name you can remember for any specific need, then might as well have one. The last thing I want to show you guys in regards to this is I want to say it's micro technicalities panel they did. I don't know how to spell that. Yeah, looks like I messed that spelling up. CitizenCon? Come on. There we go. So this is where they talk about archetypes at an even larger scale. So we went from a single settlement up to this idea of Starchitect and how it would define planets and their styles. And now this is where they ultimately had laid out the full style set for Star Citizen and all the buildings that were going to come from it. So this ultimately is where Starchitect is going to get its guidelines, I think.
And learning lessons from Lowville and Area 18. Okay. So for the new art style, as I said, if you look at Lowville, we wanted something that felt old, not necessarily well maintained. And Area 18, it was a bit more of a dystopian kind of like neon city. So we already knew right at the beginning that New Bab would need something new. And also, like I said, for the narrative, it was.
And we know Microtech. Let's jump forward. This shows us really everything that they're going to go. And just for a quick recap, because we've been over this a lot: utilitarian, colonialism, and high tech. We already see those. This is Pyro and Nyx. This is Arcorp and Hurston. This is Orison and New Babbage. We're also going to see Henoism coming in with Castra, and we'll probably get some super modernism in Terra. I do not know. Streamline also is supposed to be relevant in Terra, actually. You can look at the Terra concept art images, and you can, I think one of those images they had there for Streamline is straight out of Terra. Like this. Or no, this one. Yeah, this is like, if you look at what they say for the Streamline, they say retro rounded corners, and then they show like these like kind of half dome buildings, and then you look at this and it's the exact same thing. So I do think Terra is going to have some Streamline, super modern, probably some utilitarian. The only thing I really don't know where it's going to come from would be meta classicism. This could be, I don't know where we'll run into this. Systems that were made during the Messer regime. Maybe Terra will have some of that. Who knows? Either way, this is the whole understanding of their idea behind locations. It's not just plop a location, do all this. There's supposed to be context to them, and they're supposed to make sense. And all of those rules are being written into this Starchitect program. So I think that's what they've been spending a lot of their time working on. It's just defining what actually drives all this stuff. Now maybe they got to build the art and like make the system that actually plants this stuff. I'm sure this is still a far way away, but I'm glad to see it being worked on. Let's hear more about where they're headed with it. Here, I believe.
That toolkit. First and foremost, we've got our art style and branding. We've got things like Frontier for our settlements. We've got high tech for the emergency shelters, but also utilitarian like our bunkers and distribution centers.
You have no idea what these terms are or mean? You mean the, here? Yeah, they're not super descriptive. Utilitarian is like function over form. So, Arcorp, Lorville, very much falling apart, not made to look pretty. Colonialism is just, they describe them down here, which kind of helps. So colonialism, they say, is a frontier vibe, use of natural resources. Oftentimes it has a derelict-based archetype. Streamline is retro with rounded corners. Streamline as in easily replicable. We made a lot of these. We shipped them out. We planted them down. Metaclassicism, I don't know how you could even, like, they describe that here as being geometrically asymmetrical, massive, and ornamental. Very Warhammer 40K, I think, is what they're going for there. Henoism is conveying security. It's very bunker-oriented, military. High-tech is, well, high-tech. And then super modern is just sleek. And, you know, exaggerated modern design. Maybe it's Earth Soul. Yeah, Earth is probably, yeah, classical. You're right. Good call. Do I look up all the videos before stream to know when you're going? No, I've just watched all this stuff too much.
The richer the data, the richer these locations will be. Secondly, they all have a function. We've got mining for our mining outposts, farming for the farmsteads, or just places where people live. The function of the place will define the way the place looks as well, and its form. And last but not least, the people as well, the faction and their loadouts. We've got lawful people, like the new Citizens for Prosperity in Pyro, unlawful, such as Xenofred, and sometimes not even no one. And the place needs to look a bit, you know, derelict.
Unoccupied clothing.
You'll find different people.
Is that just nude?
So, now that we've made our toolkit and we've defined all this new stuff, let's start building thousands of locations. Yes, I said thousands.
Yeah. See, this is the part where you're like...
So, to avoid the same issue of working on directly in the planet, I'd like to introduce to you Starchitect.
So, like, you know, Star Paws, you see where they're going there.
What Starchitect allows us to do is directly on a planetary scale scatter all these new libraries and modules and assets and no longer work directly on the planet. And it uses the same logical rule set as our emergent biomes. And it also gives us full control over the data that we set on these locations. So expect locations in places where they make sense. Let's kind of look at all this new Genesis data and all these new libraries and chuck it into Starchitect and see what it gives us.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit. So like I was saying, archetypes, building styles, functions, needs. Think about the fact that when you are cargo hauling commodities, you're not going to go to a security outpost. You're going to look for a mining outpost, right? That context should apply for every job you're doing, from looking for a bounty. Where is that bounty? Where should they be hanging out? Should they be hanging out at a backwater bar down on a planet in Pyro, or should they be hanging out at a aid facility in Magda? Like, they need to make sure that they hit the rules. So here are some examples that I think he gives to show how these locations might be formed. Or it's just YouTube loading. Maybe.
Specify what this resource needs to be. But we can also give suggestions where sometimes you'd find it here and sometimes you wouldn't. If the location has refineries, it might want to be near water to refine the resources. Then secondly, we can define what buildings should be there. So obviously we need mining buildings, houses for people to live as well, and even power buildings that we can leverage with the resource network. Starchitect will intelligently figure out where to place these and what needs to be at the location.
In my opinion, if their planet tech can work how they're saying, right? If we get Nix 1 and we go around it and explore it, and the seeds and the plants and the rocks and all that stuff spawns believably how they explained it would, I don't see why this can't happen.
Next up, farms. Its rules, well, temperature. Not every plant can live in every temperature, but the same with soil type. Only certain plants can be in certain grounds. And then we can query the seed map to determine what plants you would find there. What are the harvestables? As for the targets, again, farm buildings, obviously, power buildings, houses, but even animals, such as our beloved quasi-grazers. And last but not least, derelict ships. We've got these all over the place currently. Rules, well, they'd be close to an anti-air because I would be shot down. But even in harsh flight conditions, such as mountains or low visibility, you probably most commonly find them.
That's honestly, that is such a great excuse for exploration. Derelict ships in places where you can't fly because the anti-air is too powerful, so you have to find ways to get in on the ground. It's like the excuses write themselves, dude.
Targets, well, crash ship parts, of course. Sometimes you'd find the full remains of a javelin, and the other time you might just find the nose of a starfarer laying around. So, let's talk about coherency. Sure, we can scatter all these locations everywhere on the planet, and you'll find them in places they make sense, but we can do better. You don't just want to find an outpost completely on its own, right? We want to make sure it really feels like people have built their lives here. So, let's talk about some missing bits. We want to tell tighter stories, such as the people's lives, but also logical exploration. If I find one thing, I expect to find something similar or something else nearby. We also need more data control. What defines one mining outpost being different from the other ones, aside from the harvestables? And also give the narrative developments. Make sure people build near rivers, on mountains. They build near town halls. They build near distribution centers. So to hit that bit of our benchmark, we make sure that locations are near each other and group them together. The effect it gives is a fully developed landscape with vistas and points of interest all over. And we group them together in what we like to call a cluster, like this one, that has 13 locations.
So you get where this is going. Jump forward a little bit more, and they're clustering things together.
Because they want to be isolated and do their evil deeds on their own. And also on an unlawful planet, such as somewhere in the Pyros system. For the targets, outlaw outposts, crash ships because they would shoot them down, and also ruins from just places they just completely overrun. The data on this one, you'd find specific loadouts, and they'll be using weapons that you wouldn't find any in other legal system. And these weapons will be sold at the shops in these regions. So,
yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll have roads in between these places, huh? Where we're going, we do need roads.
Just like our locations, we can put clusters near other clusters, and we group them together, ranging between 10 to 15 locations each. And we group this into what we call a sector. Like this one, that has about 120 locations.
However, I hope they can I hope they can prove this out, and it can be a good system. They talk a lot of amazing game, and they show a lot of amazing tech, and I think if a company like Rockstar were to come out and show a presentation like this, people would lose their absolute f***ing minds for weeks. I think CIG just needs to deliver. They need to have they have delivered on some really key things, and they get props for they probably don't get the props that they should for that kind of stuff. I think server meshing has done a really good job for the game, but a lot of these deliveries, a lot of these things that they've talked about were right at the time where they need to start proving themselves. And I hope that Starkitect comes out and does what they say, because this is crazy technology. But I think most people need to see it to believe it. So that's Starkitect. And just to give context of where they are in terms of getting the narrative and tech designer talking about it. So it's probably starting to scale after getting some initial work last year. Still a ways away, I bet. They talk as if it is coming with Genesis this year, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Let's keep an eye on the February monthly report for that kind of thing. Online technology, the network team began the year changing the DGS manager class so that it's aware of DGSs that no longer have groups streamed in. Guessing that's for dynamic server meshing. This provides buffer time between the DGS having its last group streamed out before it can be considered for release back to fleet. The team also created a class that will change as they transition from static meshing and instancing to quasi-dynamic and then full dynamic server meshing. Besides this, the team tested various in-development technologies along with maintaining and improving tasks. The Live Tools team continued surveying users of Bootstrap, the local game environment tool. to make it more stable, faster, and easier to use for testing and development work. Development of the ticket assignment workflow web app tool continued with delivery targeted for the end of February. Finally, the validated UI design for Hex is currently being implemented with modern navigation and improved layout to enhance workflow efficiency. Finally, sorry that was loud, in R&D, after the optimization push at the end of 2025, ordinary, where the heck did I get ordinary? That was weird. What the heck? January saw the revival of the new and improved ground prototype, with work beginning to make it production ready for both the PU and Squadron 42. Once complete, ground details will be cheaper to evaluate and render, ground fog modeling will be improved, and lighting will self-shadow and cast shadows like rain volumes and clouds. Part of this work also includes various optimizations for the atmosphere ray marcher. Okay, so ground rendering optimization is great. Stuff coming from Squadron 42. That is the monthly report, though, in terms of ships, locations, tech, features, AI. We are now going to turn towards ships and talk about what's coming up there. But I hope you got a good information chunk out of this read through. Learned something about the Valakar, maybe a little bit of narrative stuff. Mainly Starkitect, I think, is the most exciting revelation in this one. But it's January. It wasn't that exciting. I'll see you in February for something a little bit more exciting, hopefully. Smev, we have not covered ships yet. No, we're about to. Yeah, Benoit did say that it was going to be coming with Nyx 1. Or he said that he hopes that it will, I think. Rockstar has delivered something in the past. Yeah, exactly. I figured it went without saying, honestly. Having it test on Nyx 1 is good because there won't be many buildings on it. You're a bit worried that they are still prototyping for Squadron 42 in 2026. You mean the R&D stuff? The ground texture things? We already knew this from CitizenCon. What, Starkitect? I don't think they had mentioned Starkitect during CitizenCon. I think Benoit just mentioned it now. At CitizenCon, they just talked about Planetech. All right, ships, shipping shippers. Mr. Ship. Where's my spreadsheet? Alrighty. Space nerds, we have spaceships to go over. I've got my ship tracking database here. We've got our January monthly report, the latest ship development news of the year. We do this every month live here on the stream. We're going to go over everything that has progressed, determine when they might release, update the notes on each of those releases, and have a whole bunch of fun making jokes about spaceships, because why not? That's what we do here on the live stream. Folks, if you're not been here, come check it out. Join us. It's good times. Good fun, I think. Right, chat? Is it good fun, chat? Say it's good fun, or else I ban you all. They mentioned Starkitect at CitizenCon? What? I gotta go back and look at Starkitect then. Yeah, you know it's real when someone says yes, daddy. All right, let's look at the ships, yeah? Let's start off with the unannounced ships. So we actually have 6 unannounced ships right now. As of last time, we did have 6 listed, so I think we might actually be doing okay there for once. Thanks, Obama. Continuing on after that interruption, the North American team has 1 unannounced ship and the UK team has 5. Let's look at UK first. The first unannounced ship had its final reviews, with the downstream teams adding their final touches ahead of release. Team also updated some of the chassis geometry it shares with another vehicle to bring it up to a higher standard. This, my friends, sounds very much like it could be our salvaging mole. We'll just have to see if there's any chassis geometry changes to another vehicle when that does come out. But I'm gonna. This is probably at Lot 0, right? So this is likely the vehicle we saw last month was at Lot 0. We had it as an expected release this month. Last update we have on it was that it passed both its white box and gray box reviews with a few minor details. We first heard about it in January, actually. I'm going to go ahead and assume this is the same one. And I think it's the salvaging mole. Salvaging mole. The Argo scrap, the Argo vol, whatever you want to call it. I'm still going to have an expected release of... Probably this week, huh? I bet it's this week. It'll be on This Week in Star Citizen. So you'll know by the time you see this video, probably. Confidence. We're changing that confidence to absolute. If it is the one that we're thinking it is, it's a variant. And it's a salvaging ship. I'm say a medium salvaging ship. Argo vol. Gonna stop adding new ships so we can focus. So focus can be on optimizing the game, continues to add new ships. When did they say they'd stop adding new ships? The soul. You gotta have some soul. I'll give you that one. The Argo soul. You gotta bring some soul to the operation. Ooh. Yeah, I don't think they ever said they were gonna stop adding ships. That's actual suicide. Okay, that's our first unannounced ship. Next one, following the completion of the Hammerhead Gold Standard tasks, some of the team began laying the groundwork for the second new vehicle, while the third passed its white box gate review. Okay, so one of these ships is like in white box at the very most, and the Hammerhead's done. Let's update the Hammerhead real quick. Absolute confidence, release imminent, rework gold pass. I'm gonna put that release as something this month. You guys think they're gonna wait until the next update for that? Or do you think they'll do it this month? It could still be a next month kind of thing. They could just say 327 for the Hammerhead. Tasks wrapped up in January. Cha-ching. Yeah, they said they're going to stop doing concept ship sales. A while back during one of their Year of Playability vids. You're going to have to find that quote, man. I can't imagine they would ever say they're going to stop selling ships. That doesn't make any sense. They have to sell ships. They already sold the JPEGs for the ships. They can't just not give. That's illegal. They would get sued for that. You think the new Argo salvage will take into account the new salvage mission requirements? Yeah. Absolutely. That's why they're releasing it now. Like no doubt, you know, when they release these ships at the same time, like the Hermes released during a cargo focused event, the Salvager is releasing during a salvage focused mission push. They definitely are timing ships with gameplay and content. Hey, appreciate your content. You're me and my brothers, my bros, my boys, Star Citizen Newsman. Cheers, dude. Cheers to you and your boys. I hope you guys are enjoying the game this year. They would have made crazy wild news if they said they weren't going to make ships anymore. Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be industry-wide news. All right, our second ship was getting the groundwork laid for it. What's this? What is this? Progressing quickly? No. Manufacturer that hasn't had work done in a while? No. This one? Moved through White Box with the team focusing on its unique hero rooms. None of these are really screaming, we're doing the groundwork. Right? Dang it. What do you guys think? We've got... this one passed White Box. Okay, so this is in Gray Box. This one I didn't know because they didn't say what was going on with this last month. They just said that it was progressing quickly due to the availability of its existing branding kits. So this is going to be something we know. OEM, we know well. But it's still, like, it sounds like they're past the groundwork on that. What are hero rooms? That would be like the unique rooms to that ship. So like the 400i has its scanning room, its scanning table room. The MSR has a scanning room, that kind of thing. The Hull B? No, the Hull B's almost done. Y'all came back a couple months ago, been having a blast doing everything. Did your first Apex fight this weekend. You got to fight the Apex Valacar? Did it go well? Is that working? Lazarus? Which brands have a branding kit ready to go? Most of them, to be quite honest. Aopoa, Mirai, Misk, RSI, Anvil, Aegis, Drake. They all have branding kits. Crusader does. I don't know about Origin, to be honest. I don't know where things are with Origin. Useless rooms that look cool? No, I actually think, for instance, like the Starlancer TAC, I think like the medical room in that is also considered a hero room. They're just not exactly standard. Yeah, they love the hero words. Rescue heroes. Straight to Flyable is still dropping new concepts just without telling you exactly what it is ahead of time. What? It's literally not a concept. You can't... That doesn't make any sense, dude. A concept is not flyable in game. That's like saying Google has already released their next smartphone because it exists somewhere. They just haven't told us about it yet. You don't think the worm fight itself has really been broken, more the looting around it. Oh, okay, cool. You ran into bugged eggs twice. Had to do some server hopping. I see, so it's the lootables. Rough! That's rough. Okay, I don't have any other input on where I should be putting this, so I'm just gonna say it's this one. This one's on you, chat, if we're wrong. In January, we'll say. Okay. Last update on this bad boy is the 9th of February. Or, sorry, the 4th of February. Same with... Crap. This one. 4th of February and the Hammerhead we went over. We're not falling behind. When do I think the Fabricator will arrive? Whenever they release that in game. With all the SC media you've consumed, have you ever heard a whisper of the Connie rework or gold standard? I have not. Their traditional way of dropping a picture that they will make someday and selling it. Yui, what's up? What's on you, Hustle? Oh, the ship? It's on you! Our third one is past its white box gate review. Okay, what was in white box last month? We had this one and this one. So this one's from a manufacturer that we've known for a while. Entered production after the initial concept phases in resolved issues with its interior components, and this one moved through white box with the team focusing on the unique hero rooms. So one of these, my friends, has finished its white box review, and we have no indication of which one it is. They just said the third passed its white box review. So one of these is from a manufacturer that hasn't been worked on in a while. And one of them is a ship that has hero rooms. Of the ships that we know about that, well, we don't know about ships that aren't announced. So it's really hard to even guess what they might be. The most we can do is just apply this note to whichever one it's most likely to be. Which one is it most likely to be, chat? Come on. The Stingray? Well, the Stingray Kruger's been worked on, so it's definitely not this. If the Stingray does have hero rooms, it could be this one. Hero rooms are just unique rooms to the ship, I think. Will I do a feature bingo with this information? I don't know, man. It's a lot harder to track features. We'll put it on this one. So we'll say this is December, November update. This is our January update, and it was updated last February 4th. Okay. The other three don't have any updates right now. Let's continue. Oh, never mind. The fourth upcoming ship had its white box gate review in January, which flagged some issues with its main gameplay feature not behaving as expected. Upon investigation, the team identified and resolved the issue, allowing the ship to pass its review. The UK's final team announced it's approaching its white box review. What the fuck, dude? Where are these white box reviews from? I don't have 3 in white box. I mean, we have, okay, this one's in white box, I guess, because it's undergoing its groundwork, but I only have 2 of these in white box right now. Bruh, this doesn't even, they don't even make sense the way they do these across the months. I'm so confused. We always get messed up by this. Reviewing the scope of the work and the available time frame to make the process smoother. Because this is the 5th unannounced one, and it's going to white box. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the freaking 5 unannounced ships are supposedly have just finished white box. I'm so confused, man. Arrow Drew, thank you for the sub. Thank you. 9 months, dude. Little Twitch baby. You take it back what you said earlier. You're not sure even they know where ships are. Yeah, dude, I am so confused. Cause the last month report I don't think we had that many ships in white box. So something happened here. Where is it? Here we go. Let me look at that real quick. Art ships. Okay, so the UK progressed on numerous vehicles, including the Braylon, yada yada, Gold Standard work, yes, Miss Cole B, UTV, the Galaxy. Okay, 4 currently unannounced vehicles progressed through the pipeline. The ship closest to release passed both its white box and gray box reviews. So we have that, right? Passed its white box and gray box reviews right here. And this is what we believe to be the Soul. The second is progressing quickly due to the availability of its existing brand kit. So that one very well is... we just read that somewhere here. Viewing the scope of work. Wait, no, I'm on the wrong month now. No, I'm on the right month. No, I'm sorry. The brand kit was what we already had in our thing. So the brand kit one is unique hero rooms. What the heck? Okay, progressing quickly due to its existing brand kit. Here we go. So this is the white box one. We believe that they're laying the groundwork for it. Yeah, so that doesn't make sense. This note from the monthly report does not make sense on the one that has the brand kit progress, because here they're saying... Sorry, in the last monthly report they said it's progressing quickly. There's no way they're laying the groundwork for it if it was progressing quickly a month prior, right? So we need to find a new ship that could apply to. Oy. Some of the team began laying the groundwork for the second new vehicle. What the f, guys? The unannounced vehicles are so hard to track. It doesn't make sense. That means they need to get a better standard for how they refer to these things, dude. They began laying the groundwork for the second new vehicle. I'm just gonna place this as a new ship, dude. Because they're working on 5 unannounced vehicles here. They were working on 4 unannounced vehicles the month before. In total. Yeah, so they have 6 they're working on now, and they had 4 before, so 2 were added. No, the Aurora is announced and released. This is absurd. I'm just gonna put another unannounced vehicle on here for this one because I have no idea how this one is progressing. How is it getting the groundwork for something's getting the groundwork here? I have no confidence on it. I don't know where it is. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to put the first mention of it here and the last update of it here, and we're going to assume that we'll figure it out eventually. So the existing brand kit one is its own separate thing, okay? The Argo Soul is also there. That's the one that we saw getting its few initial details figured out. The third passing white box following a hugely successful concept stage. And the fourth from a manufacturer that hasn't been worked on for a while, entering production after the initial concept stage. That means that this one here, the one that hasn't been worked on for a while, entering production is in white box, right? So if we go back here, we have that listed in white box, but we also just got the new update on it, and we said entered production after the initial concept stage. Okay, so we could go to this new monthly report and see if that matches up with any of these. Let's see. Some of the team began laying the groundwork for the second. No, the third passed its white box gate review. That's could be it. This could be the one that just passed its white box gate review. And we could be pushing into gray box with this one. Why don't we take that and run with it? This unannounced vehicle passed its in January. Okay. Okay. Which means I'm removing that from this one. Because that's the one with the hero rooms. Yeah. So we don't have an update on this one just yet. Whew. Hey, Jaybird, how you doing? Do I have a line for the Arastra? Not yet. They haven't started talking about it yet. Okay. So that's, they answered, they named the 4 here, right? This is the first one. We got that. That's what we think is the soul, I believe. The second has the existing branding kit. And we said that one was here. We don't have a guess for this with the existing branding kit. The third, hugely successful concept stage, so it's in the white box. We have that here. We're not moving that one forward yet. But that means it's in gray box already. That's why I do not understand that. So from what we know, we already have a LOD 0 from this first one, past its white box and gray box. We have this one progressing quickly. There's no way it's still in white box if it's progressing quickly. But even then, I think we do have it down as progressing quickly. Due to the existing branding kit. No, we still have it down in the white box. The third passed its white box review, so it's definitely in gray box. We have that here. Right? The fourth entered production after the initial concept stage, so that one's definitely in white box. A manufacturer that hasn't been worked on in a while. I think that's this one. OEM that hasn't been worked on in a while. So now that was last month. Let's go back to this month again and match these up. So the fourth has its white box gate review in January. We updated that, I believe. We don't really have any way of knowing what that would be, other than that it flagged some issues with its main gameplay. Very well could be something that has to do with hero rooms, right? Where are the hero rooms? Oh, it hasn't been worked on. Moved through white box. Team focusing on its unique hero rooms. Had its white box review. Moved through white box. Did they say that it finished white box? The fourth entered production. Yeah, so that could be that one. We could have matched this one up. Let's go ahead and say the one with the unique hero rooms was also had its white box review in January and had some unexpected gameplay problems. Now, we don't know what it is, but I am going to list it as having gameplay just so that we can remind ourselves later. And since it had its review, we'll put it on Gray Box now. I feel like we figured something out there, right? Maybe? Hopefully. I might be crazy. I don't know. You guys could be watching this after the fact, and it makes a lot more sense when it's not live. I think the team identified and resolved the issue upon investigation. Cool. Final unannounced vehicle approached its white box review with the devs reviewing the scope of work and the available time frame to make the process smoother. So could be this one. This one was progressing quickly, though. I really don't see why it would be that. And again, it could be a big one progressing quickly. Why don't we just put it down there and see? Got our update for it. All right, now we can move on to the named ships. Ah, thank God. Yeah, you can find this whole page on the website, spacetomatogaming.com. Okay. Now, the Gattack Raylan, our first ship with an actual update, is amazing. Love this ship, super excited for it. Progressed through the white box phase towards its gate review in February. Let's go ahead and update that. Our ya boy, the Raylan. New notes to be added. In January. Progressed through the white box phase. Last update, February 4th. Still expecting a... I had it slipped to IAE last month. I said that maybe this is the kind of thing that will come in IAE instead alongside the Galaxy. They could get this out by Invictus or by Alien Week. So pre-production began in June. Production itself began in November, which means that basically their white box work began in November, and it was able to complete white box in February. Actually, that is still taking a while. No, that's what, 3 months for white box? Alien Week is in June. If they hit white box in February, they'd have to go through gray box, LOD, and release preparation in February, March, April, and May. 4 months. I don't think they could do that. But I also don't think this is necessarily something they would wait till IAE to release. This could be like an October or September kind of release. They might hang on to it until IAE. But I kind of want to shift this to October. I'm going to lower my confidence on it. It's still in white box, so we'll wait and see if it gets to gray box in February. Isn't white box the longest? It is, but it's not necessarily... I don't have the confidence to say it's half the process. So if they spent 3 months in white box and they have another 3 months to go, I don't know if that's enough time for them to get done with everything else. Maybe. Next month we'll give a much better idea. I think it's still possible this comes in Alien Week. They have a lot of people working and they're working really hard. But... yeah, I don't know, dude. I do feel like they gotta kind of... They're gunning for it. They wouldn't have started it in pre-production last June unless they wanted to get it out this year. And releasing it at the end of this year seems like a bad idea. It'd be so hyped if it was Alien Week. I'm gonna keep it on June. If nothing else, just to manifest it. The Grey Cat UTV continued development. Its planned mocap session was delayed until February due to external factors, though it will still make its gate review early in the month. So, okay, let's see what the UTV was at before, because it's got a gate review coming up. Oh, do we not have it on here? We don't. Huh. That's weird. Great Cat. UTV. Very high confidence. Yeah, we don't know. Great Cat UTV continued through development, including updates to the dashboard after discussions with UI. Dude. Notes. December, November. I don't know how I missed all of the UTV updates. Let me see if there was another one. Star Citizen, October monthly report. Yeah, I guess I just missed all of this before. Good thing we're catching up on it now. Okay, so this is October. Is when it entered the white box. And then this month, continuing development, missed its mocap session, but headed for a gate review in March. So that would, I assume, be white box gate review. Is it still in white box? There's no way it started in October and it's still in white box. In October, it entered white box phase. Or that was the October report, so first mention would be November 5th. Last update would be February 4th. Expected release, dude. White box review in March. This could be an April or May release. Like a 4.8. Little ground vehicle. Yeah, I think it's still in the white box. Mocap session. Update to the dashboard after discussions with UI to integrate the required screens, as well as a motion capture session to add a new enter and exit animation. This could be gray box work, actually. They didn't say it specifically, but updating the dashboard, it feels like gray box. We'll see. In the next monthly report, they'll tell us exactly which gate it passed. So for now, we'll leave it as that. Next up, the MISC Hull B passed its gray box review with no issues and is now well into the Lot 0 phase, with the artists currently adding additional details throughout. The Hull B is looking like a release pretty soon. They said it passed its gray box review, so it's on to Lot 0, getting the good work on. Artists are currently adding additional details throughout. We'll add that to our notes for the January update. And, oh, sorry, that's not the right one. Where's the Hull B? Is this considered a variant or a new model? I don't even know. Is it doing it a disservice calling it a new model? Expected release, I have it as July, but I think it actually could be earlier than that. I think this also could be a May release. It's already at Lot 0. It could actually be an earlier than May release. This could be like April, maybe an off-season sort of thing. Hobie is new. You think we're going to get it in March? Hot take. We'll see. We shall see in next monthly report. Drake's Ironclad Assault and Command module continued to develop it, making heavy use of the brand's modular kit. This helps the team make sweeping updates through the ships, leading to much faster progress than prior ships. That's good. Yay! I'm gonna go ahead and put the Ironclad and Assault new notes on here. as it continues through. I think we can all assume that they are still trying to making heavy use of the brand's modular kit. This helps the team make. So they're still in gray box. We're talking about the Raylin being in gray box. No, Raylin's in white box and reviewing in February. The Ironclad's in gray box. If it does make it into Lot 0 by next month, I think we have a good chance at May. And I think that is what they're going for. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's still in white box. Why does this one say gray box? No, yeah, guys. Wait a second. They're pushing it. This is going to be really telling. This is actually, I think, this is a big moment for us to make a good call on CIG and how they're doing with their ships. The most recent information that a lot of, at least us in the Inforunner circle, are going off of is what Execute and Outgrid report they learned from the ship team a couple of years ago, that every ship takes 18 months. So if it's a bigger ship, more people on it, 18 months. If it's a smaller ship, less people on it, 18 months. That doesn't seem to be consistent from what I've been looking at over the last year, but going off of that timeline, or rather, not going off that timeline, I think right now is a chance for us to look and see if that's true, because the amount of work they have to do for these ships is definitely throwing that into question. Both the Raylin and the Ironclad are at the same state. They're both gonna have their white box review in February. However, they both started at different times, and they are both different sized ships. It makes sense that they'd start at different times being different sized ships, but the timeline itself doesn't match up. So we'll see what happens here, but this is going to be telling whether or not the Ironclad and the Raylin can make a release by May or June. Yeah, I think they got better too. I think they also hired more people. I think over the last year they've gotten a lot faster. But this will be what proves it. We'll see. Ironclad's the big one to watch. The North American team continued to work on an as yet announced ship. There's our last unannounced ship. It progressed through the white box phase. Doesn't tell us much. We'll say that the North American team's working on that. We got low confidence. White box, I think. Yep. Vehicle type. Guessing it's a new model. We don't know any role. Don't have an expected release, but it was first mentioned February 4th. And our note is as follows. Progress through the white box phase in January. Congratulations. You're a special one. Finally! Oh, wait. Last month saw its variants blocked out to ensure there are no surprises when they go into development at a later date. What? The team also adjusted some of its interior spaces to add more windows between rooms? What the hell? Okay, this is an interesting ship. So it's a large ship. It has windows, multiple rooms, and variants. Huh. Does America work on anything in particular when they're working? I'm just going to put here just so that we remember. This ship has variants. It will be known. In fact, I could probably just put unannounced ship variants here. The Genesis? Dang, that'd be crazy. Yeah, the details on these are pretty crazy in Blender. Those AK textures. Finally, the Drake Kraken continued through white box with the first of its gate reviews set for mid-February, which is a major milestone for the team and the ship. Further work for the concept. Is this the freaking Kraken, dude? They actually had one of these rendered for one of the early CitizenCon events, I think it was, or something. Some event. They had it sitting out at Lorville's landing pads. Further work from the concept team was scheduled to help the production team refine some of the areas that have evolved since the original concept, or that weren't as well refined during the original concept phase. Cool. Okay, so the Kraken's a really big one. This is a very big and very important one. I should actually start saving all of the notes down here and then just kind of like doing a little bit of it here. Continued their white box with the goal now set for its... You know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I want to have like, so I could do January, and then I could have like December, November here. Whoops. And then I just have the actual updates down underneath these, and then just like a summarized one up here, because these are getting so long. It's easier to just click in and read all the stuff we have. Anyways, let's update this one. It continued through white box. First of its gate reviews is set for mid-February, so we're still on track for that. It's a slow ship. It's a big one. I'll show you guys. So the Kraken is a 10 crew, 270 meter long, 3,792 cargo SCU carrying spacecraft carrier. It literally flies other spaceships around. It's your little pirate base, dude. Even the trailer is very much like, we're a gang and we're gonna mess you up because we roll.
Leave now, or we kill you. I'm happy either way.
Yeah, this thing's gonna be huge. It's gonna grow so much from the concept. Because other ships have grown, right? The landing pad sizes have grown.
The time has come for something new.
I can't believe they're actually making this. The gameplay you got to come up with for this. It's going to be a huge thing when it comes to orgs, mostly, I think. Large groups.
Of civilization.
But this is going to make for a great set piece for all other players to go on and like eliminate targets and steal things and find things. Like this is a level waiting to happen. It's going to be cool.
It's time to release the Kraken. Drake Interplanetary. We got your back.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy for org missions. They're just protecting an innocent prospector pilot? Yeah, but what was that prospector pilot mining for though, huh? He's mining up the goods so they could make the not goods and kill people or something. I don't know. Yeah, this is going to be crazy. I can't wait to run stuff out of this with GAI. We just used the Idris. I mean, I'm not saying I say people didn't call us a gang at one point. We got a gang sign. It's this. It's the shape of a tomato. We just walk around going like this. Main thing you see the Kraken being is just a mobile base. Yeah, it is. It is a mobile base through and through. Even if you go back to the talks that they had about Quantum, look at how many freaking times I've talked about this stupid system, dude. It's like so many videos. Even if you go back to where they described this system, the home base that they give the pirates to use as their kind of like invading the trade lanes.
Let's go ahead and zoom in there. And you can see that those are missions being created by the NPCs, no different than players would. In other words, you see a lot of deaths on a route that's got a lot of value. And let's go ahead and hover over some of those contracts. These are contracts that are being thrown out by the NPCs on that route. What's happening?
How do you guys afford the Kraken?
The NPCs are basically being, some
I
of the
don't.
raiders are being picked on by the pirates.
That's my solution.
Could wind up. Go ahead and take a look at Hurston, the coolers and quantum drives.
Check this out. This is where they're operating out of, you guys. Right.
So like they got the ideas. They know exactly what they're doing. The Kraken's definitely going to be a very, very popular space station for people. If I'm not wrong, did I close the one? Oh no, it was this one. I think that's it. I think that's all of our updates. We got the Kraken on there. We got, yeah, everything's on there. Cool. So, how many did we get updated today? Honestly, a lot. There were not many updates for announced ships. If we can filter by last update. Today, we saw the Drake Kraken, the Gattac Raylan, the Aegis Hammerhead, and the Greycat UTV see an update. That's 4 announced ships, and we saw 4, 5, 6 unannounced ships. So in total, we saw 10 updates today. Not as many as you normally. To be quite honest, this monthly report from ships to features is pretty light, but it is the first of the new year. As I always say, they spend January doing their planning and all that stuff. They even said it here. Their general plan for the year was being made in January. I'm more surprised by how much progress they made during January and that planning month. The fact that we got 4.6 out, and it's pretty decent. We've got an event going on. Rewards are being had. Star Citizen Live is up. Roadmap Roundup has been out. Like, they've kicked the year off running, so I can't be that bothered at a short monthly report in January. We'll see what happens in February. Like I said before, last year's core gameplay was huge. Sorry, this is November, December. Last year's core gameplay section in the monthly report in February was freaking massive. Look at this. So we might be in for a good surprise next month. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, this has been your ship update for January of 2026. Did we get an inside the starships this week? Let's see. Is there any behind the Star Citizen yet? Inside the Star Citizen behind this day in the behind. What do you guys think so far of the ship situation? Actually, of everything. We went over features too. They looking any good to you? Let me take this off the screen real quick and throw in a couple of looks like a great start to the year overall. Anything in particular you guys are interested in most? Whoops. What did we went over something else during the beginning of that monthly report. Oh, the Valacar. That's right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
4.5 made you back into the game with some friends pretty happy. Are your friends actually interested in sticking around? Something that a lot of people say they run into is they'll bring friends into this game and like try to have a good time, but their friends end up dropping out eventually. Bad year so far, terrible progress. It's a scam. Dude, it's actually, it's cut and dry, man. They split and they ran. It's over. It's done for. Monthly report deep dive, huh? That's the whole thing. The Valakar, though. Let's see, that's news, Stark attacked, and Discord, and the ships. Alrighty, cool. I think we're good. Sorry, that was I just need to make sure I had everything that we just did all tabulated and figured out. Crafting is what you're most excited for? Ironclad for you. Tiny Home. Holy sh**. Bro. Tiny Home in the chat. Guys, it's been like 6, 7, 8. How freaking long has it been, bro? I haven't seen you. Maybe you have been in chat. I feel like it's been a long dang time since I've seen a Tiny Home joke in the chat. Welcome back. How is Genesis going to affect ArcCorp? They are going to work on ArcCorp, but they didn't exactly say what they're going to do with it. It's hilarious reading all the comments on AOC vids. If you think this is bad, wait till you learn about Star Citizen. Bro, you want to see how outdated the conversation around Star Citizen is? Did I show you something? Look at this, bro. Look at this. Look at the comments people make. This is on a thread about Ashes of Creation going poorly, right? The thing's going poorly. This person said, a real shame about all that has happened. AOC looked pretty cool. And the person replied, it seemed to follow in Star Citizen's footsteps, promised too much, realized how costly that would be only after getting started, and ran out of runway. I'm like, is the runway in the f***ing room with us? Let's stay on track. It's crazy. It's so outdated. And yeah, there's a bunch of people who are like, oh yeah, Ashes of Creation, man. It's the new Star Citizen. Guys, we're playing the game. You had a friend join you today to get his AA defense done. You found an abandoned Perseus, and he had the best time he's had in the past years. Y'all just took the Perseus and ran with it? That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, they're doing transport updates on ArcCorp. You moved from northern Montana to Tennessee a few months ago. Been watching you while you work. Well, dude, I appreciate it. Good to know. We've been hurting for your jokes in the cooking streams, man. I hope the move went well and life is treating you well. Some people think SC is dead. People think all kinds of things about SC, yeah. Why give the troll the time of day? Oh, I didn't talk to them. Take note. I didn't talk to the person, and I also blanked out their name. I don't give them the time of day. I just think that the thought process is very funny. Oh, Minnesota. Minnesota, right. That makes more sense. The CEO of AOC invested most of his own money. That's why it failed. Well, yeah. Star Citizen has, for all the hate that Star Citizen gets for selling ships, and in the ways that they do a lot of times, like they deserve some of it. Fact of the matter is that it has worked and it has stuck and it has not failed, and they have figured out how to fund this project unlike most people ever have. Doesn't mean that it's for sure going to work out, but over, I would say, the last like 5 years, especially with the releases of 3.18 and 4.0, it has become a much less risky bet, Star Citizen. To be quite honest, I don't know how in the world, like 8 years ago, we were looking at this and being like, yeah, we're going to get somewhere. We're good. We're going to be okay after the rollout of 3.0. I think really what it was just before 3.0, there wasn't really any, it didn't seem like it was going to be a game. And then after 3.0 came out, it was like, oh, it's like there's kind of a bit of stuff to do here. Like it seems like things are going. So there was just that sort of, the bar was low and the expectations were able to be set high because suddenly there was progress. Because to be quite honest, guys, oof, it was not a given that this succeeded like it did, that's for sure. You feel SC is lacking in progress mostly because of the focus on Squadron 42? And that's your opinion? Bro, you're not going to get roasted for that. You are 100% on the money. There's not a more true statement out there. I mean, they said it. I can show you exactly where they have said the very thing themselves. It was the 2023 financial report. There we go. As set out in my last report, we made the decision at the start of 2023 that we need to dedicate and ring-fence more resources for our Squadron 42 game in order to get that game to feature complete by the end of the year. And then they clarify further down here, so although an expensive commitment, the decision was taken to devote these planned and required resources from Star Citizen earmarked for Squadron 42 onto Star Citizen is what they used to do, right? They say, hitherto it was all too easy to divert resources earmarked for Squadron 42 onto Star Citizen, but this was at the expense of Squadron. So, although an expensive commitment, we have decided to devote these planned and required resources back to Squadron 42 in the interest of making solid progress towards our ultimate goals. So, you're not going to get bullied for that one. You don't understand how people think this is a scam when there's an actual product that can be played right now. Dude, this is a hard one. It's like you gotta define, like, what is a scam? A lot of people have a different definition. Some people will tell you that a mismanaged project is a scam because they failed to do what they were trying to do. Most people, I think, would say that it's the motivation that defines whether or not something is a scam. You could tell somebody that you've got a pool at your house and it's super comfortable and it's incredibly refreshing, and then that person comes over, and because it's been blazing hot for the last week, the pool is kind of warm and it's not comfortable and refreshing. It's not like you scammed them. You're just wrong. Actually, no, maybe that is a bit of a scam. Comes from experience. Maybe I should have beat him up. Google says that a scam is a fraudulent, deceptive scheme designed to steal money, personal information, or data by tricking individuals through phone calls, emails, or internet platforms. This is a very up-to-date version of the word scam, huh? Somebody in 1920 is like, so there's what's email? Common examples include phishing, fake investment, tech support scams, all that kind of stuff. Dude, you got to define whatever scam means for yourself. Star Citizen is a game that has sold an idea that it has not delivered. And some people consider that a scam. Even if they're still working towards it, because they've taken so long, people will call it a scam. Because it's taken so much money, people will call it a scam. It's super easy to say. It's only 4 letters. One whole syllable. Way, way, way too easy to just type out on the internet without thinking about it. But I think for the most part, people call things a scam because they're not actually taking time to look into them. Most of the people that talked about Ashes of Creation after it fell apart immediately called it a scam. As soon as any information came out, it validated why they thought it was a scam. Anything that was discovered, likely there was some background information that was the cause of that happening that leads to it being considered a scam. For a lot of people, you can't be convinced. Can it really be a scam if it employs hundreds of devs for almost a decade and delivers a playable product? Yes. In the same way that, like, Theranos was a scam. Because that Theranos was employing people and doing things with the money, right? I don't actually know if they were embezzling or stealing money or doing anything like that, but it was a legitimate company for some time. They were just tricking people. Not to say that's what Star Citizen's doing, but technically you could employ people with a scam. You can deceive people by incompetence, so it's not motivation. But that's just stupidity. I think you can feel scammed, but it's still like they're stupid. What did Theranos deliver? You're not wrong. They didn't deliver anything. They employed people, but maybe didn't deliver something valuable. You could say maybe some people might consider what Tesla's doing a scam. There's a lot of details there. And to be quite honest, just even mentioning the name Tesla is enough to put a target on my back, I feel like, criticizing. But in the same way that Tesla was kind of like always gunning for a cheap electric car that's wildly manufacturable, employed a lot of people, delivered a lot of products, done a lot of good, but also never quite delivered what they said to people they were going to deliver. Is that a scam?
I say good man.
Mars is a scam?
In the late 1900s, we thought of a scam being perpetrated by scoundrels looking to nick your pocketbook.
Mm-hmm. Did you say the late 1900s? Stop it with that. Freaking nonsense. The late 20th century? Just to clarify, what happened to Ashes could still happen to CIG. Oh, of course. I mean, CIG doesn't have a board of investors that have majority stake in the company. So it can't necessarily be ripped away from Chris like that. But CIG could run out of money. That's always a possibility. CIG only has one private investor, from what I know. And they only have, I think, a $60 million stake, which is like a very, very small amount of the company. You still think they're all wrong with the fact that CIG publicizes their financial data as being transparent as possible. That should be enough to show their actual intent is not to deceive. They just bit off more than they can chew. Mm-hmm. Promise stuff you can't deliver. Yeah, it's stupid, but it's also scummy. Promising stuff you can't deliver is certainly treading into malpractice. I agree there, Dash. But again, I think it does come back to motivation. Even if somebody is telling you they're going to give you something they can't deliver, if they do believe they can deliver it at that point, and there is enough proof that it was within the realm of possibility, I don't think it should necessarily be like a legal matter. More so as something that's understood between client and provider. Whatever the intent was and how the project went, at the end of the day, AOC knowingly tried to rug pull Steam. Yeah, that I'm interested in knowing whose decision that is. You doubt they would completely stop production on the game at this point? The worst that would happen would be they go full pay to win and push out a buggy 1.0. The worst thing that I could see happening here is if CIG stopped receiving any money next month. I think they would have enough to still finish Squadron 42. Now, things might get sketchy for Star Citizen, but at the end of the day, the company, CIG, still has an entirely other video game that is in the final stages of development. So even if everything went wrong with Star Citizen, and this thing just did not work out for whatever reason, CIG still is releasing a AAA level, once in a generation kind of game, once in a console generation kind of game. So there's a lot more at play than just, is the MMO gonna work? Are people really gonna buy spaceships? You think SC has the most sturdy funding model of any crowdfunded project? They'll always rake in cash. You honestly think unless they purposefully do it, can't go the way of ashes? I think they've got a great way of making money. Big question on everybody's mind is, will they be doing it after 1.0? If you promise your wife you can build a deck, did you scam her? Yes. You scammer. Go to jail. You hope we get rid of the tier 0 stuff by next year. I think we're still going to be seeing tier 0. Unfortunately, I think tier 0 is going to be the kind of thing we see all the way up until we get to the quote-unquote beta stage. CIG also has other assets and income streams. They have one of the best mocap studios in the world. True. They've got a whole bunch of, they have, CIG has diversified themselves. They've bought real estate. Well, actually, no, I don't think they own any of the land. I think they've just leased, I think they've leased office space. I'm not sure if they bought it. Yeah, I need to double check on that. I think maybe they bought the Manchester office space and they leased the Frankfurt office space. But like, it's kind of insane. They have a single group of investors that are hooked in for Squadron 42. They've got a community that is buying ships. They've got more of that community that's buying cosmetics. And then they've got a whole other side of that community that's just subscribing optionally. They've got a motion cap studio, as you said. They've got a huge suite of technology. I'm not saying that they're going to sell that, but in terms of where their worth is, their value, spreading it out, the game engine being developed over the last 10 years is a massive amount of diversification, I think. Obviously, there's a single player and the MMO style game, so that's also good. What else is there, man? Yeah, they purchased a company. They bought Turbulent, which, say what you will about CIG, Turbulent is and has been a valuable company since 2001, working with all kinds of studios, solving all kinds of tech problems. Clearly, they had a big hand in helping set up Spectrum, in developing new locations, in starting to deliver spaceships, in making server meshing work. CIG's diversified themselves pretty well. From a business standpoint, I think they've done a really good job of making themselves safe, even if we do come across like a recession or some really big financial struggle in the next couple of years. They're better off than a lot of other game companies. Honestly, more tech company than game company at this point. It's always felt like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, the yachts too. They've diversified themselves across multiple yachts. You think Squadron was CR's first love and main goal of the project? Once all 3 chapters are released, CR is 60 years old, made his money with his goal of Squadron completed, he may sell and retire. And then they'll release Star Citizen? You went from playing Flappy Bird to this. I always tell folks people come from all kinds of different games to Star Citizen. Flappy Bird is just one of them. Flappy Bird, dude. My niece is really good at Flappy Bird. Before we left Turkey, we wanted to be in touch with my niece, and we wanted to make sure that it was a direct line between us and her. So I found this app that we could use to talk to her and call her, and it allows you to play games and do filters and all this stuff while you're talking over a distance. Every freaking day, she calls Mrs. Tomato just to like tell her about her school time and talk about what's going on in her life, and it's the best thing ever. But my favorite thing is they got this game that's basically the one where you tap the screen and it makes the helicopter jump and play. Almost every time I come in there to check on them talking on the phone, and my niece is just in here cracking up, counting her like how far she's getting, talking to Mrs. Tomato about how good she's doing. I love it, man. Oh, sorry, I miss that girl. Freaking miss that girl. I think she's at like 100 now, which is insane because I can never get past like 8. You know, they should make a Star Citizen game for that whenever they come out with control surfaces. Remember they used to release little games when they would release a ship concept, like they did that Minesweeper game with the Nautilus? They should do something like that with one of the ships. It should be like a helicopter Flappy Bird clone, just using a Star Citizen spaceship. People would play the absolute out of that on their spaceship, CIG. You could probably code that together in a week. You let us carry that around and put it in our spaceship, people would die for that kind of entertainment during quantum travel. Server meshing, like you said, the Elder Scrolls Online has something similar since 2014. There you only select 2 regions, NA or EU, that's it, not individual realms or dreams. When we will have one server, one universe only, the dream. Yeah, and I mean, any form of server meshing is valuable. When I say that CIG has value in the engine they've built with server meshing and stuff, that's because they made that. Like, CryEngine has its own amount of value, right? But for all intents, there's probably not another game engine on the market that can make a playable star system as well as Star Engine. That's saying something. Maybe there is. Space Engine is pretty powerful, but in terms of also including gameplay, interactable AI and NPCs, space to ground transitions, all that kind of stuff, it's like that. Well, maybe it's like this for like 6 years, but they got there. We still don't have working arcade games or pool tables. You want a whole new MIDI game? I mean, if we get them to make an arcade game, maybe that'll get them to make the other arcade games work. A game called Shenmue had arcade machines you can interact and play actual old school arcade games on. Hey, it's a good move. Bethesda wishes they had CIG's engine. Dude, you know what's crazy is how long it took for Bethesda to allow us to climb ladders on their engine. I can't get over that. Wasn't Skyrim... Was it Skyrim? Am I thinking of the... Is this the wrong... Hold on. Bethesda's... What's their engine called? Brio engine? Mio engine? Dio engine? Creation engine, but isn't it based off of something? Gamebryo, that's right. So, like, didn't the Creation engine have something weird with ladders for a while? Do you actually care about ladders? What is it actually... What does anyone actually want functioning ladders for? Why do you want to climb up floors? Just use stairs. God. Ladders? What are you thinking? That's such an interesting Reddit thread. Why you can't find... Here we go. Speaking of for Fallout 3, climbing ladders are all possible. You can climb out of sewers, for example, but I suspect it's the animation. Yeah, so it was... Ladders were always to transition between areas. Right? They don't serve much purpose. Bethesda devs ignored it, continued to ignore it by Obsidian. Modders did try to import this action. Ladders weren't necessarily required to create the best sense of atmosphere. I don't know, it's just such a weird, like, random thing. What's wrong with elevators? I don't know. Let's ask CIG. How, outside of construction work, how often have you used a real ladder? Well, I mean, for me, not much. But for people who are getting in and out of spaceships, I'm guessing it's probably going to happen quite a bit. Or generally, I think it's mainly because stairs and elevators are pretty modern. Maybe not stairs. No, stairs aren't modern. Who am I kidding? They've had stairs for as long as we've had rocks. It's like one of the stupidest things I've ever said. You know, that game takes place in 1996. I wouldn't expect them to have stairs yet. They just couldn't figure out right angles by that point. Alright, besides the fact that I'm a f***ing idiot, I think that a lot of the games that we play have situation where ladders make more sense. Because they're not as, it's not as modern world, kind of. Oh my god. Ladders are a design flaw. We didn't have enough room for elevators and stairs. You take that back. We probably hit stairs before ladders, right? Don't start the elevators debate. What ladders are for Bethesda are elevators for CIG. Well, they got it working. So now CIG's on the money. They're on the clock. Make it happen. Where's the Ranger series? Locked behind getting wheeled vehicles to respond correctly to our controls. Dude, they still haven't done this week. I hate it when they purposefully target us so that we can't tell you what's going on this week in Star Citizen. Elevators have been working pretty flawlessly for months. Stairs likely were invented because a long time ago they used ropes to climb and exit, which were a lot harder. I wouldn't mind. Let's replace all stairs with a rope system, and you guys just have to pull yourself up. It's like we're all going back to the pre-chairlift days. At one point, more than half the company was working on Squadron versus the PU. Most vicious predator in SC is the noble elevator. Dude, the elevator they need to get better. All right, y'all. I'm gonna pass you on for the day. Appreciate y'all being here. Wonderful folks. Elf Folky's the best of folks. Oh shoot, that's right. We're in just chatting. This is weird. I just clicked in to see who we would raid, and it's like a whole bunch of people that I have never seen before because we are not in the Star Citizen category today. Following. Boom. All right, been a little bit since we raided your boy Mr. Spooner, so I'm gonna send you over there. Thank you everyone for being here. You said you had the inside info and you would share it Monday. Inside info on what? Oh, you didn't predict every ship. Right, yes, that's right, I forgot. So sorry. I'm keeping it to myself. What can I say? I'm so fucking dude. Oh. Thank you. I don't even know who did that. God bless you though. That was wonderful. Big buy. Yeah. Woohoo. Love it. All right. I'm gonna send you over to Citizen Spooner. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed the stream. As always, we are still working our goal towards, that's the wrong direction, towards getting a new desk in anticipation of mounting these joysticks and expanding the amount of stuff on the table. Thank you all. If you have decided to help us work towards that, thank you, Wandering Mage, for being a lovely toast gang today. Appreciate you. Yeah, go check out the podcast. New podcast episode is out. Me and Grolo talked about what's coming up in Star Citizen, what happened to Ashes of Creation, and how we might see things progress in terms of crafting and other types of gameplay. But that's for another day. I hope you enjoyed that video or enjoyed this stream. Whatever you do, have a lovely day. Take care of yourself. Eat something you love. Give yourselves a hug. Spend some time around good people. You are good people. You deserve it. I'll see you all later on Wednesday. Bye-bye. Come on.